Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tales from the Backlog, a gaming deep dive podcast. I'm your host, as always, Dave Jackson, he, him.
And I'm Rachel, she, her.
And today we'll be covering Cairn. But before we get into that, a few quick things. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by, first and foremost. And if you're worried about spoilers, here's how they work on the show. Every episode is no spoiler for a while, so if you have not played Cairn, or if you're halfway through the game, you can listen to a good chunk of this episode without worry of being spoiled on the story. There is a timestamp down in the show notes for when the spoilers begin. Until that point, you're safe. And if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting it however you can. You can do so monetarily on Patreon. Patreon.com/RealDaveJackson is the place. You can also tell a friend, share in Discord servers, leave ratings and reviews on the podcast apps, and likes and comments on YouTube. Everything's very helpful to help more people find the show. So, with that being said, as you heard at the top of the show, I've got a new guest on the show with me today. It's Rachel Watts.
Yay, hello.
She's an editor at Thinky Games, co-host of Indieventure podcast, and a free solo climber. Rachel, it's good to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me on. I am so excited to talk about this game with you. I've been thinking about it so much, so this is going to be very cathartic, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people had somewhat cathartic journeys through this game today, and it's cool to arrive on recording day with a lot to talk about, because we settled on talking about Cairn on the podcast before the game even came out, so I'm glad that it fulfilled the promise of an interesting game to talk about, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, we're going to go deep. Ascend. Oh,
yes.
No, ascend. Yes, there we go.
Right. We got to prepare all of our mountain climbing, mountain ascent puns and everything like that for the rest of the show.
Oh, goodness.
So the game, once again, it is Cairn. Cairn is a third-person mountain climbing game developed and published by the Game Bakers for consoles and PC in 2026. It is the first 2026 game on the show this year. And it's the first one that I, bought on release day and played and everything like that. And people are hearing this months after it came out, because that's how this show works. But Cairn, quick credits at the top, as always. The game was directed by Emmerich Thoa, and I'm doing my best with names, as always. Design credit principally to Audrey LePrince, art and writing by Matthew Bablet, and music by Martin Stig Anderson, Gilda, and The Toxic Avenger. So obviously more people involved with it, but those are the principal credits. Now, if people don't know what Cairn is, we have our elevator pitches per usual.
Yes.
I take a real dumb one to start. Cairn is vertical baby steps. Rachel, what would you say?
That is so good. Mine is, okay, I've gone for a bit more serious. Mine is a mountain versus mind climbing adventure about endurance and sacrifice.
Yes, absolutely. The mountain versus your mind, and maybe your hands as you play as the player in the game.
Yes, absolutely. My God, I could never look at my hands the same way after holding that controller. I was like, oh, I'm so clumsy.
Oh yeah, it'll bring out the worst in all of our abilities for sure from time to time. I played Cairn on PC. It took me 14 hours to complete. Where did you play it, and how long was your playthrough?
So I also played on PC, and mine also took me, I think it was 13 hours. So we're very similar.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Ooh, I could have played for so much longer, though, I feel. I might give it even a second run. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of other playthroughs that took longer on the first playthrough. There's a lot to explore in Cairn. It's not like just like a strictly here's your challenge, do it type of game. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot to there's multiple playthroughs. There's the free solo hard difficulty if you're real hardcore about replaying the game.
Yeah, if you're a sicko. Not for me. Yeah. I respect it, but not for me.
Yeah. Same here, but I did a fair amount of exploring, but I did always feel a little bit of pressure to keep moving. We'll talk about the way the game does that later. So
Yes.
14 hours feels like a, median playthrough ish.
Mm-hmm.
So let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk about our histories with this game. Like I said, both of us were looking forward to it. So,
Yes.
Rachel, what was it that had you looking forward to this? Was it, the idea of a climbing game? Had you played previous things from the game bakers before?
So I had played Haven. So that's
Okay.
what one of the games that Game Bakers had done before.
Hmm.
I'd not played Fury. So I wasn't too excited. Sometimes when a game comes out by a studio that I really like, that's what will get me to play it. But honestly, because of like Jusant and Peak, which two
Hmm.
games I loved, hearing that this was like that, but more quote unquote realistic, hard mode, I was like, okay, I will definitely give it a go. Not thinking that I really would enjoy it. I was like, it looks like a good experience because it was so marketed as like being quite difficult and
Hmm.
being like a test. And normally for me in difficult games, I I don't really engage with that, which I maybe we'll talk about in a bit.
Hmm.
But my main interest was that the way it looked and the fact it was about climbing. So
Yeah.
those were the two big ones for me.
Fair enough. Are you by chance interested in climbing in real life? Like, is that a thing you enjoy?
Oh no, but you know what? Playing this, I'm like, maybe I should try bouldering. But it's just one of those things where I probably will suck at it in real life, but in video game universe, in video game land, I'm somehow a climbing expert now.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So it's interesting you say that because I'm also, like you mentioned, Jusant. I really liked that game.
Yes, yes.
And I liked how, we seem now we have like a spectrum of like, we have games like Uncharted where you basically climb by just holding
Hmm.
the stick forward. And then,
Yeah.
and I like Uncharted. It's not a shot at those as games. It's just, the climbing is not very involved. So you have games like that. And then you
Hmm.
have all the way up to, and then Jusant was like, okay, think about your climbing a little bit more and
Hmm.
be a
Hmm.
little bit more deliberate with it. And then now we have Cairn, which is even further on that spectrum, where it's like,
Yeah.
think about where you're putting every hand and foot
Every
individually the whole time.
finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I really like, I don't know if this is just, I've played a bunch of games like this recently, but these
Mm.
games that ask you to carefully deliberate over every single movement. Think about where
Yeah.
everything in the environment is. Death Stranding, Jusant a little bit, Baby Steps. Baby Steps was
Yes.
on the show last month as people are hearing this.
Hmm.
And now Cairn. And I'm like, I'm really drawn to these games. And I think I just like these games that ask me to like carefully consider everything you're doing. Don't take movement for granted types of games.
Yes, that is
And
true.
yeah, and then the art style, you see a trailer of this and you're like, ah, the game looks gorgeous. It's about this
Yeah.
deliberate climbing thing. I'm in. I also played Fury years and years
Did you?
ago. I
Mm.
didn't beat it. That game's really fucking hard, but I liked it.
It's the
Like,
boss rush one, right?
yeah,
Yes.
it's a boss rush. I liked it a lot. I like the aesthetics of it a lot. It's just
Yeah.
I was kind of like half concentrating on it, and that's not a game.
Mm.
It's hard enough that you have to like dedicate yourself to it.
Go
So
lock in.
yeah, exactly. And I wasn't at the time. I'm always
Mm.
like thinking about picking it back up, but I did play it,
Sure.
so I was aware of the game bakers. I know that they know how to make a
Mm.
good game, so I
Yeah.
was in, and I really like Cairn. It's a game that I had a really hard time like putting down. Like I would crest
Yes.
an obstacle and then I would be like, this is a great stopping point. But also, what if I just tried one more wall over there? Like it was that kind of game
Yes.
for me. And
Hmm.
the kind of emotional journey that you go on with Aava throughout the game was
Yeah.
really, really compelling. And I felt every peak and valley, to use more
Mm.
mountain terms of the
Yes.
journey,
Nice.
um, every triumph and then every like super frustrating moment throughout the game. I felt all of that, and this is one of those games that I think everyone's going to come out of with like
Mm.
my journey up Mount Kami. And I
Yes.
really really love the experience. And this game did have a couple of let's say
Mm.
janky things that
Yeah.
that created difficulty in a frustrating, like the game's not working right type of way every now and then.
Mhm.
But that was
Mhm.
not nearly enough to make me like stop playing. And we'll kind
Yeah.
of dive into that stuff later. But
Yes.
really high highs, some really frustrating lows for me. But I came out of this being like, this is really, really good. I haven't played a lot of 2026 games at the time we're recording this yet, but
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
is the front runner for me for stuff I've played this year. I really like this.
Yes, I think I'm with you totally because I've not played much this year either, but Ken is something that I can see being in my already being in my like end of year games just because of what you said of like those highs on those lows. I also just kind of want to like the way that I approach games, especially games that can be difficult, is that like I said, I don't.
Mm.
So it was interesting. I just don't. So it's interesting for me that with Ken, I was, it's a game with lots of helpful settings. But
Yes, yes.
I'm quite proud that I went into the game. I think at first when I was getting used to the controls, there's a rewind function. So I was using that. But I think at one point I switched it off and I connected with this game so like seamlessly at points and then frustrating like lows like you said with others, and it's just when like I play games, some of them have like good story. Like this is a good experience. I feel like I had a journey, like you said, with this game, and
Hmm.
I know we talk about sometimes that can be like quite lofty, but like at the same time, I haven't felt that in a hot minute. So I appreciate Ken for doing that for me, and
Yeah.
this makes me want to boot up a Dark Souls game. And because I've always avoided like those kind of games because I've just been like, no, I don't think I can do it. But with Ken, I really pushed myself and tried to engage with it on its own level. And it
Hmm.
was just so rewarding. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's quite special for me this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you say that it's a kind of lofty goal for a game to give you this kind of like experience, like
Hmm.
this experiential thing. But I think that's definitely true for Karen, and it's something to be celebrated when we do get that. Like
Yes, yes.
something that feels like it goes beyond. I executed this series of challenges, or I overcame these challenges,
Yes.
and I watched a story take place. There's like a connection that's formed, I think, in this type of game, like the Death Stranding, the Baby Steps types, the Cairn,
Yes.
where you're so connected to every single movement your character does. Like it doesn't. I know that this is not true, but it does not feel like the game is really doing things for you. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
I was a part of every single movement up the mountain. So this feels like my journey more so than climbing the mountain in Jusant felt like my
Yeah.
journey. That was more of a like I was more of an active player in that, and I liked the story in that game, and I thought it was beautiful and all that. But
Hmm.
I think that Karen is resonating on a little bit more of a personal level with people, and I think
Yes.
that connection is part of it.
Yeah, Jusant was very. I viewed it as like you're looking at the side of a mountain. It's more like a puzzle. You have
Yeah,
certain buttons
yeah,
and tools, and that there was. It was more like you were solving the mountain, like piece by piece, wall by wall. Here, it's it's not a puzzle. It's
yeah,
endurance. It's a physical thing. Like the way that I was like clutching the controller as Aava was like clutching the edges of the
yeah.
mountain. It was
Hmm.
so physical in a way that I was playing it. Like I just like you were talking about like the relation to like the avatar. Like I really did feel that when I was my hands were sweating because seeing her and her the body reaction and the sound, which we will get into,
Oh
the
yeah.
this audio design of this game is unreal. But
Hmm.
there, it was just so that felt so natural as well. Like it's a game that I didn't really have to like force like that it was like got gradual over time. I slipped into Ava's climbing shoes and I did not leave them until the end of the game, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. I think the way you described Jusant as a puzzle to be solved and Karen not feeling that way is really apt. Um,
Mm,
the mountain in Cairn feels like it's there. And
yes.
obviously, it is designed in a way where there are different routes that you can go up. But it doesn't feel like it's like this is this section with this solution that everyone's going to
Mm-hmm.
follow. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
get up there however you can, you know, and if you want to take an easier
Yes.
route versus a harder one, that's up to you. But at the end of the day, you got to decide how you're going to get up there and where you're going to go
Yeah.
and how you're going to manage your resources and all of those things. And I think that that also contributes to that like personal feeling of like, I didn't solve
Mm.
this puzzle. Like, you know, in a lot of puzzle games, I'll reach a point where I have to go for a walkthrough and be like, what's the
Sure.
solution to this puzzle? And Karen never, I I never felt like there was a solution to look up. It's just like, no, man,
Yeah.
make smarter choices, get better handholds,
Yes.
manage your pittance more efficiently. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have to figure that out on my own. And I think we've now hit on a couple different ways that this game
Yes.
makes it into a more personal experience than simply I overcame this obstacle in a video game.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
cool game.
100%. It's so good. And
Yeah.
just that little thing of saying, I will climb this mountain any way I can. It's
Hmm.
like that, I guess that is just such a good point because it's not like, yeah, I just think it's so interesting. And
Hmm.
did you do the thing at the very end of the game where
Oh, your
you
route.
look up your
Oh yeah. I followed that thing
incredible. Yes,
the
me
whole way up with
too.
the camera. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see other people's. Oh, I'm sure people are sharing theirs online. Like, I'm desperate to see what routes other people took. That's
Hmm.
incredible.
Yeah. Well, you said that you're going to get up the mountain any way that you can, and that really fits
Yes.
in with Aava, the main character. So we're going to take our first music
Mm.
break, and we're going to come back and set up the story, talk about Aava, talk about that story. So in Cairn, you play as a mountain climber, again named Aava. She is set to attempt to be the first person to successfully summit Mount Kami. Hundreds have
Mm-hmm.
attempted it, and nobody has ever reached the summit. The story centers around Ava's climb, and specifically what we learn about her in the way that she kind of approaches the challenges in front of her, in the way that she interacts with other people that she meets on the way. And we
Mm-hmm.
also get calls from back home. She has this robot, they call it Climbot, that has a kind of satellite phone that can play messages that are sent to her.
Mm.
And you'll get a bunch of messages from back home, and those messages, what's going on at home, how Ava responds to those, gives a lot of
Yes.
characterization to her as well. So
Mm.
at the heart of this game, it feels like a story about one person and what is driving her to do this
Mm-hmm.
possibly suicidal type of attempt. Again, no one has ever climbed this mountain. She's a professional mountain climber, but
Yeah.
I'm sure the others in the past were professionals too. So this is a
Mm-hmm.
story about Ava, first and foremost, and she's a very interesting character.
She is so interesting. And I think the first thing for me, even before she even starts to climb Mount Cami, is she is quite a prickly person.
Yep.
She is a woman who is very much, I don't know, even before we understand her motivations and her journey, I just felt like straight off the bat, she's someone who is very headstrong. She knows what she wants. She I don't know, to be honest, like she's not that likable, which I
Right.
think is such an interesting decision to have for this character. Like I sympathize with her and certain decisions she makes, I understand them. But would I want to go for a pint with Ava? No, I don't think I would.
Yeah,
Like
she
she's
seems like a bad
intense.
hang. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is such an interesting choice to make on Game Baker's part because I don't know, like half the battle of, even you're playing a character, and especially if you want one where you want her to not die, is
Right.
that you have to like them. And I think with her, I liked her because she was so unlikable. But I think for many people, I'm not sure if she was doing herself any favors, but it's very purposeful. And like you said, like when we know more about her story and the people that are on the ground as she is climbing the mountain, we get to know more about her. It doesn't really, we understand why she's climbing Cami, but it's more like it doesn't go too deep on her psychologically, I think. It's just very much about the mountain. We hear a little bit about her father was a mountain a climber, a
Yep.
bit about that, but she does not talk about it. She does not mention it. Everything is from characters and what they say to her and context clues, and she is a closed book.
Yes.
So I just think she's really interesting in that respect. Oh,
It is interesting that you do pick up a lot of characterization for Aava from things that she doesn't want to talk about or things
yes,
that she
yes.
doesn't do, like the fact that a character is like, oh yeah, this person was your father, and she's like very like you said, she doesn't want to talk about that. So what does that tell you
No.
about her past? Maybe what can you infer from that?
Yes.
Or the fact that
Oh,
her girlfriend or her partner is calling, giving updates from home. Aava listens but doesn't seem to respond to those. Her
oh,
manager is calling saying like stuff like, the sponsors need an update on your climb. How's everything going, Aava? And she's just very much like, shut the fuck up, leave me alone,
yeah. I would.
type of
Okay, with the
thing.
sponsors, I would be the same.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'd be like, shut up. I'm trying to do my thing here, and you are. But your girlfriend, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And they obviously had some sort of falling out. There's nothing specific, but something happened between them,
Yeah.
and oh, it's so
Or,
interesting.
well, I wasn't sure if something specifically happened between them, but
Mm.
I don't know if this was like super intentional on the game baker's part, but I think about this a lot because I'm a big sports fan, and
Oh yeah.
I've followed sports my whole life. And if you follow sports, professional sports, you will realize that professional athletes, which Aava is, professional athletes are maniacs. You have to be a maniac to
Yes.
to make it to the top of your game in whatever your event is.
Yeah.
And so you could read it as like Aava makes it to the mountain and she's like, it's me and it's the mountain. I'm shutting everything else out because
Yeah.
this is how I succeed. This is how I focus, things like that. There's
Yes.
obviously more to it, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section than that.
Yes.
There is drama between her and other people, for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I do think that it's like it's smart to portray her as like she doesn't want to talk to people, she doesn't want to be friends with fellow climbers, she doesn't want to phone home and let them know.
Yeah.
She doesn't want anything to interrupt her focus on the mountain, which is smart because it's a dangerous climb, but also like you said, it results in her really coming off as this like pretty unlikable person.
Yeah.
And I'm like you said, and I agree with you, I'm always interested when video games play with this because I think there's a tendency you want to identify with and like your
Yes.
protagonist in a game because you're controlling them and all of that stuff. And Aava is not me. Like we don't handle
Yeah.
situations in the same way. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just super interesting to watch all this play out. She's
Yeah.
very mysterious in a way where you're like, why are you
Yeah.
like
True.
this?
Mm. I do relate though, as in if you're trying to hyper. I mean, I'm not an athlete, obviously, but if you're trying to hyper focus on something and you get a text, and even if you love that person, you're just like, no, later. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely phone off, mute later, reject the call. And there's, but the thing with her is that these climbs are weeks long. That isolation, which
Hmm.
is was something that made like she kind of craves as well. I think
Yeah.
it's so interesting that you said like with athletes and stuff. Like, did you ever watch the documentary Free Solo about the free solo
I
climbers?
didn't I didn't watch that.
You will love it, Dave. You will love it. So it's interesting. It's kind of the same as what Ken's going for. It's following a free solo climber. Free soloing is when you do the climb, but with no gear, no pittons, no ropes, nothing. It's just you
Right.
and your two hands on the wall, and it's following this guy. What's his name? Alex Hanold. Alex
Yeah, I
Hannell.
saw he recently free soloed Taipei 101. I saw that,
Crazy.
which I've
So,
been to the top of Taipei 101. It's insane how tall that is.
God damn. So the documentary is one looking at why this person is climbing all this stuff. Well, the documentary is looking at him doing it. That's part
Yeah.
one. But the second part is what I just said just then is why do you do this? Why does what is it within you that like bodily and mentally you want to pursue this very dangerous, what is it for, like a high, like what is it? And there's something about him that is so, he's quite polarizing, the climbing world, the documentary, that's how it's getting across.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so, that's the same question that Ken asks of this person. Why is she doing it? And on a certain level, I think this isn't spoiler territory, but we get to a part of the game where I don't think it can really be explained. I think sometimes
Hmm.
people just need to do the things they want to do. It's something within them and they just got to do it. And I think that part of that is with her. And I will get it. Well, psychoanalyze her a bit later in the spoilers. But I do think the game does a really good job of just being like, she, it's just something in her soul, or like it's part of her. Like the mountain is like calling out to her, not in a spiritual way or a magical way, but like it's so hard to describe. And I think the game gets that across without words. It's, yeah, and she's perfect for that. And
Hmm.
I just, because if she was chatty and if she was like outgoing and she, oh hey, how's it going, like this is why like I'm the way I am, like it wouldn't be that mysticism about climbing wouldn't hit the same. I don't understand why she's doing this, but also, do I need to understand? And I think
Right.
that's, oh, this game. I've been thinking about it so much.
And the way that, like you said, maybe if she was making friends along the way and,
Mm-hmm.
suddenly other people were in danger and you had other things to care about, then that would maybe distract you from this laser focus. Like the game wants you to be as laser focused on the climb
Yeah.
as Aava is, while
Oh.
also thinking about what's driving her and
Mm-hmm,
why
mm-hmm.
she is the way she is and why she continues despite, one of the things I like about this is, similar to, I don't know if you've ever done big Wikipedia dives or documentaries about climbing Mount Everest. Um,
I haven't, no.
okay, so this is one of my favorite Wikipedia dive topics is Mount Everest expeditions, um,
Oh God.
and it's
I've
it's
heard
probably
about
just
them, but I don't
yeah,
know too much.
it's probably just because it's like it's I will obviously never climb Mount Everest, so it's very interesting to
Mm.
me. As you go up Mount Kami in the game, you find a bunch of dead bodies from people
Yes.
who didn't make it, and you're
Yes.
constantly reminded of how dangerous this is. And I bring in the Mount Everest comparison because like those dead bodies on Everest are like landmarks because it's too dangerous to
Oh.
take them down from the mountain, so they just leave them there. And
Mm.
it's like, okay, you've made it to the guy in the red coat. Like that's a
That's
landmark.
crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah. And you get that in Cairn. You see a bunch of
Yes.
dead bodies. You maybe read some diaries. There's one audio log from a dead body that was pretty heart wrenching that I found. Talk about those later, but um,
Yes.
you're
Mm.
constantly reminded of how dangerous this is, and you're constantly reminded of like Ava's not someone with nothing to lose. Like she has a life back home. She has
Mm-hmm.
a loving partner. Like she has things to go back to. She has things to lose. But she is so driven by this climb, and it's just really interesting to see this all play out,
Mm.
and then to see where everything goes. Which spoilers, obviously, we'll talk about
Yes.
later.
We
Um,
will.
but this game, I will just say, this game's conclusion is incredible. Like this
Yeah.
game's ending is
Mm-hmm.
wild and really, really good. Like really impactful. We'll say
Mm-hmm. I
so.
agree.
Something to put a pin in for later. Yeah. One other thing I kind of just made a note of. Did you ever
Mm.
play Firewatch?
I did. Yes.
This game reminded me a lot of Firewatch.
Mm.
And Ava's character kind of reminded me of the guy in Firewatch whose name I don't remember anymore, in how
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they both feel like they're out in the Firewatch Tower or on Mount Kami to escape from things in their day-to-day life that they don't want to deal with anymore.
Yes.
Avas are not quite as serious as the guys in Firewatch, but
Yeah. Oh
it
God.
did remind me of that. Like, I'm out here and the things in my regular life don't exist, and maybe this is the way that I want that. I want it to be this way. And I
Yes.
have another one in the spoiler section I'll bring up,
Okay.
Firewatch comparison. But yeah, just reminded me of that. Like, I'm going out to this remote place to do this thing, and my life can't hurt me out here if that's if that's maybe a motivation.
Yeah, like it's a really good comparison because it's not just like a mental, it's a literal physical separation.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I am in a place where no one can reach me. And
Yeah.
I think part of getting to the summit is, yeah, there's also an element of no one's done it before, but it's like no one in the world, no one ever can reach me at this point. Not even the best mountain climbers, not even like, I think for her that is also, I think that's part of her goal. It
Yeah.
like somewhere in her physiology, like it mentally is like I can be somewhere where no one can access me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, our bestie in Firewatch, he's exactly the same. But it's like the physical separation is, oh, it's a really
Mm-hmm.
good comparison. But yeah, well, there's more, I think, in the spoiler section. We keep bringing up the spoiler section, but in the
Yeah.
spoiler section, we can talk more about that for sure.
It's a classic part of these episodes about games with interesting
Yes.
story stuff. So we will put a pin in the story for now.
Yes.
But let's talk
Mhm.
about the climb. We've mentioned
Yeah.
the danger of the climb, the
Hmm.
difficulty of the climb. Just real quick, if anyone did not play Cairn, is not super familiar, you're climbing up the mountain and you control each of Ava's limbs individually.
Hmm.
The game, by default, has an auto selector for which limb you're most likely to want to move at a given time, and you will need to move her hand or foot around and choose where to place it. You need to find good handholds, good footholds. There's a couple of videos I've seen that are kind of like lifting the cover on like what's going on under the hood with this like hand and foothold system.
Oh.
It's pretty complex, it seems
Whoa.
like it takes into account like, does Ava have like her hand actually gripping something, or is it just
Yeah.
placed up flat against something? Where's Ava's center of gravity? How tired are your limbs? Like, how much stress are you putting on this one individual limb?
Hmm.
um, each limb has an individual stamina bar, and you'll see if it starts to run low, she'll start kind of comically shaking her limbs and kind of grunting in
Mm.
frustration or from the effort. And if you lose all your stamina, she'll lose her grip, and if you're in a bad spot when that happens, you'll fall off. And depending on the
Yes.
height of the fall, you will get hurt, or you'll just straight up die. And I had the game actually gives you stats. I fell 32 times in my playthrough, and I died 7 times. And those deaths were either they were either like Ava falls thousands of feet to her death, or a
Hmm.
couple of like she falls Looney Tunes style and bounces off several
Yeah.
ledges on her way down the mountain. But it was difficult. 32 times in 14 hours, rough math, couple times an hour. Doesn't sound like a
Yeah.
lot, but it's like I'm
Oh.
always cognizant of how Ava's doing, where her hands and feet are. You have to
Hmm.
really be methodical about it. And that results in me being 100% locked in all the time, the entire
Yes.
playthrough of Cairn.
Yeah. I had exactly the same experience. Like, I think I really liked the well, I liked the limb system. Maybe not so. I There's an option as well to choose which limbs you can move at one point, and I ended up
Yes.
using that a lot. I thought sometimes that system was a bit fiddly, but I loved the feeling of moving each limb. I liked the physicality of seeing her body shake and hearing her breath get heavier instead of having like a physical visual bar. I really appreciated these kind of at the beginning subtle indicators, but you learn to read like her so intensely as you play the game, like hours and hours in. It's like
Mm-hmm.
every time I could hear her running out of breath a little bit, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I knew when to kind of, you can, if you're hanging on with one hand, you can like shake out your other hand to like kind
Yeah.
of like regain a bit of stamina. There's all sorts of things you can do, but just like looking at her and like trying to, the animation between, yeah, like you said, when she's gripping a wall or where her hand is just placed on the wall, when her hand was just flat on the wall, the fear of God would run through me. And I'd
Yes.
quickly try and like adjust her hand, because when you're climbing, you're pressing X, and it will select a limb for you. And sometimes if you're kind of in the flow, what I would do is I would climb and then not notice sometimes when she would be flat and not grip. And then I'd quickly have to backpedal and be like, oh no, she's gonna fall off. But
Mm-hmm.
so because I played this game at the beginning with the time reverse, I didn't even bother looking at my stats. But I think if I play again, obviously I'm not going to have that on. But that seems around the ball. I know I died, I think, more than 15 times. I think double yours. Like, I just think at the beginning something wasn't quite clicking for me. And just the last couple of bits I really was really a struggle for me. But
Yeah.
it was just, yeah, I really liked the climbing system. I loved how visual and like how the audio played into it. I just thought it was so unique. I liked not having to look at stamina bars and all this bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
the screen was just her and the side of the mountain, and that was it. And you'd occasionally have like options to look at your backpack, to chalk up your hands. Very minimal UI, which I really liked.
Yeah, I want to say it was the game bakers themselves that posted a video of like, what if we did show you the stamina bars for the limbs?
Really?
And yeah, and so it's like these calculations are being done under the hood, but they don't show them to you. And this game would lose a lot of like aesthetic purity if they showed you those bars. I really struggled with what counts as a good hold and what doesn't. So I turned on the accessibility feature that will like a white square will kind of appear when you have a good handhold. And that,
whoa, I didn't even know that existed. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
it's in the accessibility. So there's that, there's rewind, and then there's difficulty levels. Like I'm assuming both of us played on like that middle difficulty.
Yeah, Alpine, just the middle one. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yep. And then there's a lower one where there's like no hunger meter, stuff like that. So there's a lot of ways to kind of customize it, make it a little bit more forgiving, or in my case, give me a little bit better information, or more clear information. But you're right. As you're climbing, you are always reacting to like, what is Aava doing? Is one of her limbs shaking? Is one of her feet kind of like, if you get like a kind of weak, but like technically it is a foothold, like her foot will like slip off and then she'll like put it back. Or
the slipping was so stressful.
Very stressful.
There's
there's other indicators like what shape her hand is. There's ones where like little gravel will like fall off of the rock to indicate like what kind of handhold it is. I struggled with it, so I turned on that square visual indicator, and then I really struggled with in, we'll say, pressure situations where Aava's like starting to lose it. The auto limb selector is pretty bad, I think.
It's honestly, because I'm so with you, because like it's a game that's slow. You're kind of slowly working your way up, but when the pressure hits, you need to react quickly. And the auto limb selector, I don't know how else they would have programmed it. Like I can't answer that, but the way that it really fucked me over a couple of times, I was so not a fan of that. But
it's not good. It always, this might be like a I forget what they call it. The one where like you only remember the bad results, so you think all the results are
Yes,
bad. But
sure.
it does feel like it's just never picking the limb that's in harm's way when I'm in a stress situation. So
Mm,
then you have the option to manually select the limbs. I think you
yes.
hold a shoulder button, and then there's an option for a radial menu or an option for actual face buttons. Like A is left
Right.
foot, B is right foot, whatever. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
but those require two inputs to select a limb, and it's one input too many when like Ava's freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna fall in 2 seconds, and I
Oh.
have to be like really on the ball for it. So I did finish the game, but
Mm-hmm.
anytime I got in those real panic scramble situations, I really didn't have great luck with getting myself out of them. My
Yeah.
success was all about not getting in those situations in the first place, which like climbing, yeah, I get like that's
Yes.
don't
That's the
get yourself in the
danger.
situation in the first place. But the systems in place felt like they kind of crumpled under those situations.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas Ava's a professional climber, I feel like she would be like, actually, I do need to move my right foot here instead of my
Yeah.
left arm. And the auto limb selector is
Mm.
picking the left arm all the time. You know, this is that part where I was talking about like this feels like the game is not working as intended in these very
Sure.
specific situations. And it sucks because these are the situations where you can't have that. Like it feels the
Yeah.
worst in these situations. And as I said before, this feels bad. It did not detract from me loving
Mm-hmm.
the shit out of this game.
Yes.
But in those situations, I feel like I'm fighting the game rather than Ava's body or the mountain itself. I feel like I'm fighting the limb
Mm.
selector to be like, no, obviously right foot, like, come on. Um,
Yeah.
and this game is really fucking hard sometimes. And so this game has a lot of difficulty that I think is natural and great.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
Yes.
also this side of it where it's like, I feel like I'm having difficulty here because the systems are crumpling, and that feels bad to me.
Yes, because I think the way I'm trying to think of it is if they have all this programming and each limb has a stamina bar, all this numbers behind the scenes, like the game is, it's almost like not an AI, but a program being like, this is the best limb to move.
Yeah.
But for me, and the information I have and what I'm viewing, and as someone who is not a climber, who doesn't know where my center of gravity is in the body, I think that system, it didn't work because I don't have that invisible information. I'm going off what I can see. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you're telling me that her arm is the best to move, to be honest, I'm a human. Where I start is the feet. If I have the
Mm.
feet like in, I can adjust the arms, or like if I have the arms, I can adjust the feet. So I think the human interpretation of like climbing, maybe that got in the way of the AI choosing which. I'm not quite sure, but that's where I can maybe sympathize in terms of like, I don't know how you'd program that, but whatever
Yeah.
they did, it frustrated me a little bit.
I don't know if it would be like, would it be too simple if it was like the game is like, oh, the left foot is draining stamina fast. The auto selector then selects the
Mm,
left foot. Like maybe that doesn't work.
yeah,
I'm
it's hard
sure
to
that
say.
I'm sure they worked on this system a lot and tried out
True.
a bunch of different ways for it to work. It just feels very frustrating to,
Yeah.
have these panic situations and have it end in a failure, a fall, a death, and be like, I don't know, man. Like I felt like I did my
Yeah.
best and I couldn't do what I needed to do. There's
Oh,
also times later in the game when the weather gets colder and you start doing ice climbs.
yes,
Um,
yes.
where you have the game auto selects, like if you're hovering over ice, she'll get out her ice picks. And if you're hovering
Hmm.
over rock, the ice picks disappear and it's her regular hand. And anytime
Hmm.
there's a transition between ice and rock,
Yes.
it was it was a real crapshoot as to which one was going to come out. And again, if you're in a panic situation, you're like, no, not the fucking ice pick. There's a crack right there. Grab it with your hand. Like
Yeah.
those types of situations came out.
Oh,
Uh, luckily, like the ice equipment is pretty strong. So it's like very
yes.
powerful. So,
Yeah.
it felt a little bit more forgiving if you were on the ice versus on rocks when it's raining and shit like that. But
Yeah.
I mentioned this as like, it feels like very, nitpicky, like this very niche situation feels a little bit rough. But since the game is so hard and
Yeah.
these things directly lead to failure and lost progress, and like checkpoints might be a half hour, spaced
Yes.
out or more sometimes. This is that bad frustration, that bad difficulty.
Mm,
Which
yeah.
like it sticks out more in a game like this than it would if you're like if you're playing Uncharted or Tomb Raider and the climbing is a little bit weird and janky. Like it doesn't feel bad in those games because it's not that hard.
In a game that asks you to be like it to have the finesse of ultimately like a ballerina on a wall.
Yeah.
And when you don't achieve that, or when you want to do something and the system doesn't let you achieve quite what you want, of course we're going to feel frustrated, especially when, and something else I didn't quite like either is how bouncy a human body can be falling off a wall. There would be times when I'd be like, oh, I can just kind of like safely jump off, or maybe I can like
Uh-huh.
maneuver away. But oh my god, and at the times when I did fall, and I didn't think it was that far, she would ragdoll cartwheel
Uh-huh.
like Looney Tunes over the, and I'd be like, no, like I feel like if a human body, I mean, she's very slim, athletic build, so maybe she would bounce off. But I just feel like if you're a human, you would just, so that actually for me was the most frustrating. I think I could handle the limb system, I could do all that, but as soon as I dropped and it was just it was like, okay, I failed. I'm falling. I feel like shit. And then her bouncing and cartwheeling, and that was just like the cherry on top of the shit cake for me. Would just be
Yeah.
like, okay, she's falling. Oh, she's hit a rock. She's bounced off. She's
Yeah.
cartwheeling. She's ragdolling. I just think for me that was outside of the realm of reality which we're working in, which I don't know how human bodies work when they fall from incredible heights, but for me that was one that I wish had been a bit more forgiving, because some of the worst ones for me, because if you strategically plan your climb, you'll see there's little ledges where Aava can like stand, regain her pittance, and it can be like quite a small edge, but if she can stand, you
Mm-hmm.
can you can have food, you can regain your little climb block, can regain your kit pittance. So
Mm-hmm.
I would always look for those like little, if there was a tree sticking out, I was like, I'm going to stand on that tree, like anything. But the times, where I did fall and hit these, I would think, oh, the ledge might save me. And it didn't.
But
And
she
I guess
bounces
that's all,
off.
she
Yeah.
bounces off. And oh God. So I guess it's me and my pitten use, but I don't know about you. Juson, I think, was very much, you have 4 pittons, so use them kind of wisely. And I think
Mm-hmm.
I really in Ken should have used my pittons more, but I was just kind of in that mindset of, what if I need them? What if I need an emergency? And the times where I was fiddling around and it takes her 2 seconds to put a pitten in, I'd be off the wall by then. So
Yeah.
I
I
don't
did
think my
have that.
pitten management was the best. I think I could have, but the
I
bounce. Why?
Yeah, it is frustrating, but it is kind of funny to watch her pinball her way down the mountain like that.
Pinball is good.
Uh,
Oh,
with the pittons, I was pretty liberal with using them. Like I usually used all of them on a particular
yeah.
wall. And that burned me a couple times when the game was like, actually, this one's going to be a big test of like, can you
Oh.
ration these? Which is like, it's my fault for using them all too early. I had a
Mm.
couple like pretty hairy, like you got to
Oh.
climb a pretty big section of wall and you used all your pittons already. Like you better not fuck this up. Um, which, that leads to interesting gameplay and kind of intense situations. But I used mine pretty
Yeah.
freely. And anytime it seemed like, because I felt like I couldn't get myself out of a panic situation, anytime it felt like, oh, this is starting to look hairy, let me throw a
Mm.
pitten in the wall and hopefully I
Yep.
can last the 2 seconds while she's drilling it in there. Because I did
Yeah.
fall many times, like mid drill.
Yeah.
Or like,
Oh.
she gets the pitten out. She does like a little flip in her
She
hand
does a
before she,
flip.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like mid flip, she falls off. It's like, no, just fucking put it in the wall,
Quick.
But
Yeah.
You got to have style if you're a pro climber.
Yeah, my God.
The other weird janky thing is once you get to the top of a wall, Aava should mantle up and like climb up
Yes.
over the top. There's a bunch
Yes.
of times where like I was like, okay, full speed ahead to the end. I can see the top, and then I get to the top and like Ava's like her body above the knee is above the wall thing, and she's just
Yeah.
not climbing up
Yeah.
over it, and her stamina's draining. I'm like, oh my God.
I had
If I
that as
fall
well.
if I fall because of this, that's gonna be again that bad kind of like just fall forward. You're on top of you're on top of the ledge, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely had times like that as well where you learn quite early on in this game not to scramble. So quite early on in the game, I would reach those points and then just mash to try and get her up and over.
Mm-hmm.
But honest to God, like you cannot take a breath until she is stood up on that surface.
Yeah.
Like everything up to that point is like she could fall, which is I kind of like that, but it's frustrating where, like you say, she's a fit young woman. She could just lift herself up, and sometimes she does, but in the awkward times where the game doesn't recognize quite where her limbs are being placed and where you're trying to get to, maybe it doesn't recognize it, and you're like, I'm so close, and you just have to stay calm. I
Yeah.
was like, if I like, I don't know, panic, like this could go quite literally south very
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Yeah.
So you just have to keep your cool. And I quite liked that. Even if it was a bit janky, I was like, nothing is good until you are like, yeah, stood up, walking away from that edge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the tension. But that's the thing when we talk about it. Like, we're talking a lot about how sometimes these systems didn't work, but like at the time they're frustrating, but looking back, like I had such a good time. Like these
Yeah.
frustrations, and like I'm smiling as we're talking about this because it was so fun. Like those elements are really fun and addictive.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like even though we had all these kind of like very nitty gritty issues, like I can't help but like really remember fondly of those moments where I pinballed down the side of a mountain after using all
Yeah.
my pins
Really
and
fun.
Climbot laughing at me as I do so.
Really, it is really fun to look back at it
Oh,
because it was such a struggle to get through it, and
yeah.
a lot of really fun, difficult games can give you that feeling of like, now that it's
Mm.
all over, I can look back at it and be like, it was funny when she pinballed down that one time. It was like, man, remember that time that I fell off and like she blacked out hanging from one of her pittons?
Oh
Because
God.
like the hunger or thirst or cold meter was too high, and so like
Mm.
she blacked out for like a couple hours just hanging from a piton there. And then you got to get back to the climb, and like we got through it. And so as I was gonna say, like we spend some time talking about like these were very, very frustrating mechanical
Mm.
issues that I had while playing it, but they're minor. They're not a big part of the experience. They're just very
Mhm.
memorable parts of it.
Yes,
The
that's
rest of
true.
it was this like very, very consistently engaging and satisfying climb. Like I think a
Mm.
lot about what makes games fun or what makes gameplay engaging. And
Ooh. Mm.
um, to me, it's all about like strategizing and decision making and then executing on that, from going through a screen in a Mario game to climbing the mountain in Cairn. You're always
Mm.
deciding like, okay, left foot goes here. I see a crack there. That's good for the right hand. I actually need to like cross over and move over here. So like, okay, right hand here, left hand comes over. And I'm like,
Oh.
I'm going through this sequence of thousands and thousands and thousands of these decisions,
Mm.
and they result in me making my way up to the summit of the mountain. And it's why this game is so like, it's so engaging throughout, and it's so memorable when you get there, when you get to the end of it, because you were an active participant in every single thing that
Yeah.
took Aava up the mountain. Even those frustrating things, like I did get out of some of those scramble situations, and it
Mm.
feels great to like get out of it, hear Aava like take a breath, screw in a piton, take a rest, and stuff like that. and get through those frustrating times, you get to the top and you're like, man, that was a journey. That was an experience that I went on. And there's so many
Mm.
things about the game that like add to that experience, so many aesthetic things.
Yes.
Just real quick, want to shout out, since we're on the subject of falls and frustrating times, Ava's voice actor,
Ooh,
um, Sophia Eleni, I hope I'm saying the name right, voices Aava. And Ava has her normal voice lines when she's talking to other people and stuff. It's a good voice performance. But what really sticks out are those times when she falls and she screams and she curses,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's, maybe she's in a situation where her limbs are tired and you can hear her go, "Oh, come on." Like,
Yes. Yes. Oh my
or
God.
she's in a scramble thing and she'll go, "Fuck, fuck, fuck, fuck." And like, you can hear the frustration, you can hear the pain. And like, you can look and like, her hands and feet are bloody as hell. Like, she's
Yes.
having a bad time out there. And the voice actor sells this really, really well. And it's like,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. So it's like, I'm hearing the character. We're all connected in this miserable climb up this fucking mountain sometimes.
She's screaming fuck, fuck, fuck. I'm going fuck, fuck, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
we're on the same page.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she did such an amazing job. Like, it's so weird having a character who's so emotive climbing the mountain, and yet when she's talking to characters and other people, she's so reserved.
Yeah.
That juxtaposition, oh, mwah, loved it. She is, yeah, really, really good. I think half of that, half of that performance was the tension and the in her voice and in her like in the sounds that she was making. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well done to her. My God.
It's just, I played this back to back with Baby Steps, which was a really
Yes.
interesting one game into another. And Nate,
When you told me you were doing that, I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, have fun. Like,
I
how
honestly,
was that for you?
I loved it. I think you could just feed me one game like this a month and I would be happy playing them. I just couldn't do them both at the same time. I think that would have
Sure.
been too much. But it was really interesting coming from Baby Steps, where when Nate falls, Nate has these very pathetic, resigned, like, come on, like, fiddlesticks type
Oh,
of reactions, like these sad reactions to his falls. And
yeah.
Ava's are like these visceral, angry, like yells and curses in her falls.
Mm.
Just really good. Obviously gives the different characterizations to those very different characters.
Oh my
Aava is
gosh.
not
Yeah.
Nate in any
No.
way, basically. So yeah, I really like that. Um,
Mm.
let's see, if we're talking about aesthetics, let's talk about
Mm.
some of that sound design and the music a little bit. You
Let's
mentioned this as
talk
one of your
about it.
favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. So the sound designer, not the head of the audio department, but it's someone who's worked on a bunch of different video games. One of them being Cocoon, which is like one of my favorite video games of all
Mm,
time, the puzzle game, because of the audio design. And it just sounds like this game breathes. You can just hear, like, it's so detailed, and because a lot of information you have to take in is audible, like from the sounds of her breath, from, like you said, the rocks falling. Like, if you don't see it, you hear it.
mm,
Like, even like the chalking and the way her hands sound different when she grips, I felt it just sounded more like she had a better grip.
mm,
I just think the audio design is so amazing, and the weather, the
mm,
rain. Normally in video games, I'm like, oh, this rain sounds amazing. Here, I was, it was so scary,
hmm.
and I think there's something really amazing about the audio design and the music.
Oh yeah.
It's few and far between, but when it kicks in, oh my God. Like, in the trailer, they do this thing where the trailer is really good for Ken, by the way, where they take Ava's breathing and they kind of like mix it in with the music,
Mm,
and in quite an upbeat way. And there's a moment like that in this game towards the end. It's a bit slower, and it was like an emotional gut punch, like hearing her breathing and this slow music come in. Oh, I just thought it's just definitely one of those games where it speaks through its audio and then it saves the music for times where you just want to punch up those moments a little bit more. And
yeah.
it was so good.
saves those music drops like
Oh,
for you just got through a really tough climb and now
yes.
you're on solid land and you're exhaling, and then the game brings in a
Oh,
musical drop to kind of just be like, this is that moment, like take in the wonder of this new place, exhale a little bit, enjoy
mm.
this music for a bit. The way that Death Stranding did it, like when you come over a hill
Oh,
in Death
yeah.
Stranding and you'll get like a song kick in as you've done the hard
Oh,
part. In both of these games, it's after you've done the hard part. Then they
yes.
bring in the music, exhale, enjoy this for a second, because the next part's going to be harder. So enjoy this time.
Oh,
And the music is really, really good. Again, there's 3 people credited
mm.
with the music in the game. I know the name Martin Stig Anderson. I forget the previous works.
Yeah, that rang a bell for me as well.
Yeah, great use of music. And then
Mm.
the game is really pretty too. So like,
It's so pretty. I took so many screenshots. It was like my Ava was like climbing this mountain, and I was like on my like taking holiday snaps for my photo
yeah,
album. Like I was like, hold on, Ava, let me just like move the camera around and like screenshot you. Oh, it's
you
so
almost imagine
pretty.
her like turning and looking into the camera and be like, "Hey, can we get a move on here?"
Come
Kind
on,
of.
lock in. Me being like, wait.
I got a couple of screenshots of her like on the side of like a sheer vertical rock face, and
Oh,
like there's like this gorgeous sunset in the background, but
yeah.
she's just there fighting for her fucking life, and I'm like taking
Wait, just,
screenshots.
just wait a second, wait a second.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
perfect.
it's gorgeous, and
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
the loading screens have their own art in here, and they are
Yes.
beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Like more like paintings
Yeah.
of Cairn
Mm.
locations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This game
Stunning.
really knows how to do a kind of a dramatic thing. Like I think of the end of the tutorial when you get up to that railing and you can, because the tutorial is a sub mountain next to Mount Kami,
Yes.
and you get up to the top of that and there's this fence. You're in like a national park where like normal people might be out there, and then you get up to this
Mm.
fence and you see Kami. It's like looming out in the distance in this like golden like sunset. It's really beautiful.
Mm.
And the music kicks in and you're like, I got to climb that fucking thing. And the game does this a lot where they will kind of showcase like this new location that you're in or the next
Mm.
section that you're going to have to climb. It's just
Oh.
really interesting.
There's like certain lakes you come across as you get higher up, and it was just such a beautiful, serene
Hmm.
moment of being like, I can just chill here. There's one lake in particular with the fish in. You we can maybe we should talk about the resources in the backpack in a little
Yeah.
bit, but
Hmm.
like I remember finding those fish and just my Tetris kicked in, and I was like trying to organize my backpack and like cooking up fish stew to try and fit as much food in my bag as possible. And it was so beautiful, and you camp out, and then that moment of like you're facing it and then you turn around and then there's the wall again. Oh,
Yeah.
so
You can
good.
you can take all the time you want appreciating that lake,
Yeah.
and maybe appreciating like you might find there's like structures from a civilization that used to live on the mountain. You'll find a
Yes.
bunch of those. You
Yes.
can take time exploring those, like reading notes and learning a little bit more about the world, taking
Mm.
time to refill resources and stuff like that. But you're gonna have to start that next climb at a certain point, no matter what. So
Hmm.
enjoy those places while you have them. So
Yeah.
you mentioned there are survival meters to be on
Yes.
track.
Mm.
You have to manage Ava's hunger. You have to manage her thirst. You have to manage the cold, and you have to
Hmm.
manage her overall health. And you have limited inventory to take stuff with you. It's kind of Tetris-y, although it's like free form. It's not like Resident Evil
Yeah.
4. You don't have grids. It's just like, do these things actually fit in the backpack? Like,
Yes. Yes.
um, you can like grab and drag things around, or there's a button to just like shake the bag up and try and shake up
Yes.
a spot.
Yeah.
There's so many
Mhm.
times when it was like, I found a thing of oats and I really want to bring it with me, but I can't fit it. But like, can I shake my bag up and like free up a little bit of space?
This is so
Uh,
funny. I think I know the exact oat box you're talking about. Is there just one? Is it just one oat
you
box?
find oats in they have like
Oh.
those bear boxes around that you can
Oh,
find
okay.
food in.
I'm thinking of this one particular oat. It's maybe near the end of the game, this one box of oats, and I
Hmm.
was determined for it to go in my bag. And I spent so long organizing stuff and just trying to fit as and cram as much in to get this one box of oats. Because
Yeah.
oats are great because you can cook them and then they like different foods and different materials will grant you different abilities or
Hmm.
extras or bonuses. So like when you're in your little tent, you have a little cooker and you can cook like you can heat up your water if you need to, like a boost of temperature. You can add sugar to your water that will give you
Hmm.
a boost of energy. Then oats you can eat dry, which I wouldn't recommend, but
I
if
think
you're in a
it
tight
takes health
spot.
away if you eat them
Oh, is
dry.
it?
Yeah,
Oh,
so it's
okay,
like
maybe not.
they're like, you can, but like please
You
don't.
yeah. You can make porridge, and like I said, there's fish that you can add. There's all sorts
Hmm.
of really cool things you can cook up. Even alcohol at one point on the mountain, which is quite interesting. But yeah, it's and mushrooms and plants and all sorts of really cool things. And there's tape for your fingers, so
Hmm.
you have to look after your hands. Like if you there's a whole menu screen of you looking at your hands, and if they're injured, it will take away your grip ability. So
Yep.
tape those babies up.
Yep.
Um,
If nothing else, tape them up because they look pretty gnarly if you're not taking care of
they
them. It's
they
like,
do.
please, please let Ava take care of her hands. Like they look pretty gross after a tough climb.
Oh god, the thumb. I think for me it was the thumbs in particular. The thumbs. Oh. So yeah, there's all sorts of wonderful things you can find. I I had I never ran out of resources ever. I
Yeah.
think my climb. What I loved about the game is they give you at each kind of like flat surface or like chapters. I feel like the game gives you everything you need for the climb. The difficulty is not finding resources, it's what happens on the wall
Yeah.
and being I feel like the game constantly was preparing me as best as I it could. Like I never found I always would find like a backpack, someone's backpack. Did you loot the
Oh, yeah,
what? Yeah,
absolutely.
me too.
Like you
Good. Okay.
I think I think
Right? How is that even a question?
Ava
Oh,
lets you off the hook sometimes. She's like, they would have wanted someone to use this, but it's
yeah.
like you'll find a skeleton in a backpack, and it's like, well, I guess I'll help myself to this can of peaches. Like they're not using
Yes.
it, so
Hmm. So there's always quite a lot of opportunities to replenish, whether that be a freshwater spring, a lake with
yeah,
fish in it. Some of these civilizations will have objects as well that will help you. So I never felt that the game was testing my ability to survive in terms of like we're going to give you limited amount of resources.
yeah,
I always felt they gave me quite a lot, and then the difficulty would be how to implement them mid climb. That
yep,
would be the difficulty, which I loved. I like that it wasn't didn't take stuff away from me.
yeah.
I always
I
felt
was
prepared.
gonna I was gonna ask because I agree with you. This is not a survival game, but it has
Mm.
survival systems in it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're I maybe ran out of water like one time on a really I spent a long time out on a wall and I ran out of water. There was
Mm.
one time when I had trouble with the cold, and that was the time when I fell off and she blacked out hanging from a
Oh
piton, which
God.
is pretty brutal to like think about.
Yeah.
But I never really felt like this was I never had mechanical stress from the
Mm.
survival systems.
Yeah.
It was like I ran out of water, but I ran out of water close to the end. And you, like you said, basically every time you make it to new solid ground, there will be a water source and you can refill.
Hmm.
And you'll find empty bottles and you'll be able to get more than just your big jug can
Yes.
hold. So I don't feel like this is very effective as a survival pressure system if that's what they want.
Mm.
Like you said, I not only did I never run out of resources, my backpack was never less than 75% full. Like
Yeah.
ever.
Mm.
I always had
Same.
so much stuff in there. Um, what I think that this does though is it always reminds you that you have to keep moving. You can't
Yes.
spend too much time wandering around. There are there's a lot of things that you can explore. Whenever you get to new solid ground, there's usually multiple paths that you can take. If you find a map, like sometimes people have drawn
Oh
maps
yeah.
of the climbs, you can see the different routes up. And there's a button you can press to kind of zoom out and look at the wall from a zoomed out perspective and kind of plan your route.
As a must. I
Yeah,
always did that. I think that was
super
like,
helpful.
yeah, it was so good.
But I never felt like I could stick around too long because you'll see
Mm.
like Ava's thirst will start going down, her hunger will start going, or her stomach whatever will start going down, and
Yeah.
so I always felt like I had to keep moving. So I do think this is effective in that way, that like
Yeah.
I can't just can't just like spend 2 days out here. I got to keep on the
Mm.
climb, and that's probably how Ava feels too. Um,
Yeah.
and then there's a lot of stuff you can do when you camp. There's a climbing word for camping that starts with a B that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce.
Yeah,
It has
I'll
too
stick
many
with you
vowels in a
there.
row.
Yeah.
Bivouac. Not even going to try it. But there's designated camping spots that also
Yeah.
serve as your checkpoints. I kind of wish there was like a fatigue, like Ava has to sleep sometimes, and there's not anything like that in this game.
I didn't sleep a lot. I don't
Yeah,
think I
there's really no reason to. Like
That's
there's
interesting. I don't think unless it was to kill time until like it was I just happened to get in my tent until like and it was like quite dark outside
yeah,
and I would
like
just like
climbing in the
wait out the
dark. Yeah, it's
oh.
tough.
So I would just wait out the hours, but she would always be doing sit-ups or press-ups. I'm like, girl,
Right.
take a break. Like I
Again,
love that for you, but also
she's a maniac. She's a
she's a maniac. That is
yeah.
crazy. My partner was watching me play at one point, and she was in her tent, and she was doing the press ups, and he was like, "What is she doing? Like, why is she?" It's like
She
I
just
wouldn't be
got
doing that.
done climbing the most demanding rock face of her
Yeah.
life, and
Ugh.
she's
Read
just
your
doing
book.
yeah,
Like,
exactly, just doing push-ups. Sometimes she'll
reply
read
to
and
your girlfriend.
yeah, exactly. I think
Oh.
it's like if you're in the tent after a
Mm.
certain time, then you'll get the option to sleep and she'll actually sleep. But there's
Yes.
no
Yes.
mechanical reason why you need to sleep.
Mm.
I kind of wish there was. Like I did play this game wishing for a bit more pressure from these systems in particular,
Oh yeah. Mm.
but I do think that they accomplished the goal of making me always feel like I had to keep moving. So
Mm-hmm.
kind
Yeah,
of
I agree with
like
that.
maybe on the hard mode, like on free solo, maybe they drain faster and
Oh
you have to really be on it more or something.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think goal accomplished could be better for these, but
Mm.
I don't play survival games anyway, so like I don't really know,
Yeah.
like, do I actually want it to be harder? I'm not sure, but
That's the thing. Me and you are like, well, maybe they could have. Actually, I don't know if I need any more stress from that.
if they had you in
Yeah.
a situation, like imagine a situation which I had never ever found myself in, but imagine a
Mm.
situation where Ava's like she's out of water, her thirst meter is completely drained, and she's freezing to death. And so you have this thing where you're like, I need to hurry up this wall, or I need to go
Mm.
back down and camp and try again. I wonder
Yeah.
if that would have added to the experience or if it would have just put you in more of those frustrating panic situations. I just feel like for a game that's trying to like sell the difficulty of the climb, the survival systems are not difficult at
No.
all.
Interestingly, did you climb down a lot? How often did you climb up something and go back down for whatever reason? Did you do that a lot?
Rarely, because climbing down is actually
Oh,
really hard.
yes, it
It's a lot
is.
harder than climbing up. I wonder if
Oh,
the climbing system is built primarily for climbing up, and it just
yes.
doesn't work as well when you're climbing down. Usually if I found myself in, sometimes I would start climbing up and be like, this, I don't think I can make it. Like, I don't see a route.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of a dead end. I would usually try until I fell and died. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh, see, I would. There was one section in particular that I was up and down constantly. I couldn't get it. It's the bit where there's three different items, and you collect them to form
Oh,
one.
okay. Yeah.
Being as I'm dancing around it, to be as vague as possible. But that section kicked my ass so much.
Hmm.
And that was when I was going up and down. And I think I was still, it's quite early on in the game ish. So I think I was still trying to get to grips with reading a wall and what that's like. The amount of times I would just use that ability where you can zoom out and just look at a wall, and
Hmm.
you can also zoom in and out. I would just be staring at a wall, and I would like plan my route meticulously, because and I just think I don't do that in games like that. I've
Mm.
never had to do that before. Sometimes in Juson and in Peak, actually, you kind of want to look and get your bearings, but in Ken, like as much as I would plan, there were a lot of times where I would climb, and just be met with flat wall.
Hmm.
That is the nightmare. It's
It
just,
is.
it's just a slab of smooth rock, and there's no footholds, there's no nothing. And yeah, I would just be like, I'm climbing back down. And I do agree with you. The climbing down system is difficult, especially if you're on a ledge and you want to climb back down the
Oh,
ledge. So,
yeah.
and getting over that initial ledge is really difficult. And you can rappel down,
Yep.
but sometimes that's you
Sometimes
can't
you're not right
control
above the
where.
place where you need to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But I would be up and down a lot, but towards the end, straight up, baby. I was
Yep.
like, "We going."
Yeah. It's a little immersion breaking, but if I found myself in that place where
Mm,
it's like, it's just flat wall, I'm just going to reload from my checkpoint and try
yeah.
again. Um,
Oh.
because yeah, maybe I could have rappelled down, but I didn't. So, oh well. Going to gamer jail, I guess.
Oh, interestingly, a difference between Jusant and Ken is in
Hmm.
Jusant, you can rappel and you can wall run,
Yeah. Right.
which I I'm maybe it's me. I thought that's a legit thing you could do in climbing, but now playing Ken, I'm like, well, she doesn't do it, so maybe it's the fantasy of Juson that I was, because sometimes I was like,
Maybe.
can't you just like run on the wall like that the little boy did in that other game?
She can do it
Oh,
like a couple meters in either direction.
yes,
You can move
yes,
horizontally, but it's not super reliable. And like, I don't know, if
yeah,
you think about the physics of it, the rope's going to start pulling you to the side, and it's
true.
um probably not super possible.
Climberbot's like, what are you doing, girl?
Yeah,
Like, what is this move?
exactly. Yeah. So, I think that is a good
Mm,
non-spoiler coverage of Cairn. We've got a
yes.
lot of stuff that we've been bumping up against spoiler wise. So
Mm.
let's do our normal kind of recommendations. So, is there a particular type of person that you think should have their eyes on Cairn? Should take their shot at the mountain?
Ooh, someone who I think if you like, because of all the accessibility options that are available in Cairn, I think it makes it much more easier to recommend to people who like a good story, like a good story told through game design and
Yeah.
game mechanics in a way that's not just like a bunch of text on a screen. I think if you like character studies, like
Hmm.
if what we've talked about Ava interests you, I think playing it would be good. And then on the flip side of that, yeah, if you like Jusant and Peak quap almost
Uh huh.
like Death Stranding, I think absolutely those kind of like man versus mountain type of games. I think anyone who likes a challenge, but also with difficulty settings in mind, just a solid and interesting story told through different unconventional ways. I think I'd
Yeah.
recommend it to those kind of people. How about you?
Yeah. I'm right there with you, and it's interesting.
Mm,
Cairn does all this, but gives the accessibility uh, options that I feel like are like they're like on the edges of the experience, but at the core of it is still the climbing. Like as far as there's
Yes.
no setting where it's just like Ava's just going to auto, you do Uncharted climbing. Like that's not a setting in Cairn. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you can play with the visual indicator for the hand and footholds like I did. You can use the rewind feature, which,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel like, oh, this is probably not the best route, rewind a little bit, or if you fell, rewind and
Yeah.
choose different holds and stuff like that. Little ways to help you out without really detracting from the experience of the climb. So
Mm-hmm.
I do think that this appeals to more people than a game like this game's harder than Baby Steps, but I do like with the
Oh.
accessibility, I think this brings it down to a level where it's like, if you want to try it, I think you can do this with the
Yes.
accessibility things. Whereas like Baby Steps is a little easier, but doesn't have settings like that. You still have to do all the shit in
Oh.
Baby Steps. And if you find it
Right.
too hard, there's nothing that's going to help you. Whereas Cairn does have those features to help you out a little bit. And there's the
Yeah.
easier difficulty mode where if you
True.
don't want to worry about hunger and thirst and stuff, don't worry about it. Just focus on the
Yeah.
climb. So,
And like I said at top of the episode, I do not like difficult games.
mm,
So if it, if what we've talked about
mm,
here and like my experiences with not liking difficult games, but liking Ken and what the story it's telling, give it a go. Or
yeah,
maybe, there's a demo for it, I think. You can test out the climbing wall at the very first game, the very first start of the game and be like, nope, nope,
yeah. And the demo covers the tutorial mountain too, so you get a taste
yes.
of like the actual wall climbing.
Oh yeah.
I meant to bring this up.
Mhm. No, I was going to say the tutorial mountain, and you're like, this is a
Yeah,
big mountain, and it's just the tutorial
yeah.
mountain, and you're like, oh,
It's like the opening of Breath of the Wild where you're like, this game is so big.
yes.
And then it opens up, you're like, oh God. But what I was going to say was,
Yeah.
I meant to bring this up earlier with difficulty and like comparing this with other difficult games. Usually
Mm.
games are difficult because they demand twitch reflex and like pattern recognition. Like
Yeah.
boss fights are difficult. That's how a lot of games are difficult, is
Yep.
either twitch reflex action gameplay, or in the case of like a Fire Emblem or something, like strategy with harsh punishments and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That's how a lot of games are difficult. Or like mind fucking puzzles, like that's how a lot of games are
Yes.
difficult. um
Oh.
Cairn Cairn's difficulty is not in any one specific thing. It's just like you got to make a
Mm.
bunch of good decisions in a row, but none of those decisions individually are wild and out there.
Yes.
Like I feel like this is a really hard game, but it's not a game that's, I don't feel like this is gonna like weed out someone who can't play
Mm.
Twitch based action games. And it's just like, well, you're
Mm-hmm.
never gonna play this game. Cairn
Yeah.
is hard, but it doesn't feel like that type of difficulty. It's just make good decisions, don't let yourself get in bad situations, and
Yeah.
if you fall, then give it another try to do a little bit better next time. For as hard as it is, I do think that this is one of the more accessible difficult games. So
Yes. I'd agree with that. I like that.
yeah. And a lot of other reasons that you mentioned too, like I think the storytelling through gameplay is excellent.
Oh, it's
I
so
think
good.
the characterization of Aava through here is really intriguing, and we'll talk about more after the spoiler break. So
Mm-hmm.
it is one of those games where I pretty safely say, like, if what we've talked about sounds interesting to you, and if you try the demo and it's fun, like I think if you get through the demo and you're like, that was awesome, I think you're gonna play the whole game and
Yes.
feel the same way.
Yeah.
It just, the stakes get ramped up, the walls get taller, they get harder. So,
Yes.
but I don't feel like there's like a hidden thing that you're not expecting in here that's going to be like, I can't handle this. It's
That is
just,
so true.
yeah,
And if there is, it's well signposted
yeah.
before. But we'll leave it at that.
You might have a character that's like, hey, you might not want to go any further.
Yes.
So,
Oh God.
yeah. So pretty hearty recommendations for the both of us. This game's
Hmm.
awesome. So,
Yeah.
um,
Amazing.
now, a little bit of housekeeping before spoilers. As we always do, we start with the guest and the work that they do. So, as I said at the beginning of the show, Rachel is part of the Indieventure podcast and with Thinky Games. So
Yes.
please tell the people about your work and where they can find you.
Amazing. I'll start with Indieventure.
Yeah.
Indieventure is a podcast with me and Rebecca and Liam. We are ex-Rock Paper Shotgun writers and video editors and guides writers. And we talk about indie games. It's very high energy. It's like my energy, but times that by 3, and you get the vibe.
Times by 3, yeah, and amplified because
Yes,
all 3.
and,
Yeah.
yes. So it's very queer focused. We're very hyperactive. So if you like high energy podcasts, definitely give us a listen. And obviously, if you like indie games, not one of those podcasts that you want to like fall asleep to. I know a lot of people love putting on not one of those. So if you like indie games, head over there. Thinky Games, the love of my life, is a website focused on spotlighting puzzle games and what we call Thinky Games, which kind of covers things like strategy, detective. We kind of broadly describe it as any game that kind of makes you pause and think. So at the moment, we've got a big database, so you can find lots of puzzle games on there. We have a Thinky Direct coming out soon, which is our own showcase where there's going to be so many like trailers and announcements to do with puzzle games. We've just had the Thinky Awards, and sorry to go on about it, and the most recent thing is that last year we launched something called Thinky Dailies, which is a daily puzzle game that you can, you used to be able to have to log on, but now anyone can access all of season 1's puzzles for free.
Nice.
Like, they are free. They are made by puzzle designers in the community who have good rep and are good at what they do. And we've just started season 2, like literally this week. So if you like a daily puzzle and you like free and not having to log in, check out Thinky Dailies over at thinkygames.com. So, I love Thinky Games so much. I'm having such a good time over there. But yeah, check us out.
And if you like not giving money to the New York Times, you can find different daily daily Thinky puzzles. Yeah. Is Cairn is a Thinky game then? Any game that makes you stop and think?
That's interesting, because I would say Cairn might not be, because you have to think quickly in the moment. And with Thinky Games, we like the idea of like the game giving you, not all of them, but like lots of time to decide your next move, like really trying to think. But there's arguments to be made. Me and Thinky Joe, the manager, have had so many great discussions about where that line is and what is and isn't. And but you
Cairn
know,
might be on the line.
maybe a bit. Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely recommend that people check that out. Puzzle games are not a thing that I do a ton on the show, but I do have several, including the month that this comes out. There should be an episode about Isles of Sea and Sky also coming out.
Cool.
So there we go.
Amazing.
Indie game and Thinky Game. So covering both of your main projects there. So
yes,
definitely recommend puzzle game fans go check out Thinky Games. If you want a daily game, check out those Thinky dailies. And then for indie game fans, you're here. You're an hour and a half into a podcast about Cairn. You have love for indie games,
right?
Go check out Indieventure podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. I'll put a link down in the show notes for all of those things so people can find those. As the spoiler break is playing, as I'm saying thank you to the patrons, go queue up some stuff to check out. So I did most of my plugs at the top of the show. The last one is the Discord server, which is a open, free community. Anyone can join if you like being in lively gaming-focused Discord servers, although we talk about everything in there. It's not just gaming, but the invite's in the show notes as well. If you'd like to join Discord, it's open to all, and we would love to have you. And that's all the plugs. I got to catch my breath. Let's take our spoiler break. We will come back at the after the music, and we will go into full spoilers for Cairn. All right, before we get to full spoiler time for Cairn, I'd like to say thank you to the patrons who help support the show. A big hearty thank you and shout out goes out to Chris Nelson, Zulgeek, Chris Copleen, Rick Firestone, Nick Ficori, Soccer, Cupcake, Kyle, Christian S., Matt aka Stormageddon, JD, Doug Leaf, Jason Emery, Brian Skirsha, Jenny E., Marcus O'Neill, Stefan, Drellish, Rigamort, Silcanet, Levi, John E., Aliasi, Joseph Hooper, Aaron, Squill, Alan Kress, Doug T., Retro Overdrive, one of many tots, Magic Crow, Curly Bright, Ian L., Steve Yeager, Trash Dog Actual, Delaney and Jack McBride, Ethan Young, Michael Lassen, Michael Matuzak, Keith B., A Quack a Day, and many more. I truly do thank everybody who's over there on the Patreon for their support. It means a lot to me, and it helps out in a lot of different ways. So if anyone out there would like to join up, head on over to patreon.com/realdavejackson, check out the tiers, and see if there's anything that works for you. Much appreciated, and with all of that being said, let's get back to full spoiler time for Cairn. All right, we're back. Full spoiler time for Cairn, and the usual disclaimers. We are not going to go in a linear walk through the game, or linear climb through the game, I suppose. So if you're like halfway through, we might spoil something in the ending soon. So come back when you're finished, or when you don't care about spoilers anymore. And then the other thing is there's a lot of missable stuff. There's a lot of different places to explore. So we're not going to talk about everything because we didn't see everything. So the point of this show is never to be the comprehensive explainer. It's to talk about our experiences.
Yes.
So with that being said, we are going to start with our kind of memorable sections of the mountain, or discoveries, or things like that. And both of us in the spoiler break before starting it back up, we're like, the Wind Temple area, the Wind Temple climb is a memorable part. And this, I want to say, like, the game up until this had been challenging. I had fallen, I had died, but this is the first time where the game is like, all right, buckle the fuck up. It's time to, it's time to really get down to climbing. Like, it's serious now. So, for that section, there's a long part of it where you're climbing, and like, I don't know how you approach this, but like, because part of the cool thing about this is there are multiple routes through this. There's multiple routes through a lot of sections of the mountain. But what I did in this section is there's a bunch of like windows. And so you kind of climb on the outside from window to window, go inside, see what's going on in there, learn a bit about the people. And then you got to go back out on the wall, climb to the next window. And that's all fine, not that tough. It did rain a lot. It does introduce you to strong wind in that as a mechanic. But the real test is you get to the last window, and then there's just this sheer fucking rock face waiting for you. And it's the first real, like, all right, serious climbing now. Strap in. Let's go. Really hard.
Yeah, I did exactly the same as you. Went from window to window. And then I feel like a lot of the other climbs in Cairn are it's very naturalistic. So you get like the wall will like kind of come in waves, or like stick out and go inwards. But here, which is why they built the temple here, I'm assuming, it's just a flat surface. Don't get me wrong, there are elements where you can like put your fingers and toes in, but ultimately it's just flat. And you really have to, like you said, lock in. And again, I was using the feature where I was zooming out, I was looking carefully. I had collected the 3 totem pieces, so I would be shaking. You can shake it and then it will clear the weather. So I didn't have.
That's what that does?
That's what that does.
Oh, man. Okay.
So I collected the 3 totem pieces, so I didn't have to deal with the rain, but I did have the wind. And it doesn't do it for your whole climb. But if you're starting up, if your feet are both on the ground, you can activate the totem, you can shake it, and then the weather will clear for you. And then you start climbing, get halfway up, and then shit will hit the fan, and there's rain and wind and God knows what else. And dark. I did mine as well, a stupid time of day, and it was dark. So you have this almost like a staff with a light on the end, and you can like have like light up the the staff. So that will give you like a ring of light, but ultimately you can't see too much. I was so fucked. I was so bad. But it's memorable. It like, yeah, it was so dramatic, thrilling,
Mm-hmm.
and difficult. So difficult.
And there's also that one section of that where it's like that super dense rock that you can't drill
Yes.
pittons into. And
Yeah.
that's part of the game being like, all right, like we're taking off some of the like the safety equipment, like we're really letting you go
Yeah.
here. So you gotta make your way up that the best you can. And this was the point where the first time where I had been like screwing in pittons at my normal pace.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Mm-hmm.
got to a part where it was like, fuck, I have one pitten left. And then I like moved the camera a little bit and looked up and I was like, that's a lot of wall for one pitten.
Yes.
And I ended up making it up, but
Yeah.
it was a really, really tense climb because
Mm.
there were certain points where like Aava would start to get tired and I would get that thing where it's like, normally I would put a pitten in here, but I
Mm-hmm.
have so much more wall to go. So I got to try to make it a little bit further. And the
Mm.
relief when you get up to the top of that,
Oh, yeah.
that was probably the biggest relief of any section in the game because that
Mm-hmm.
was, I would say that's the biggest jump in difficulty from what came before it to like the
Yes.
current thing. Like there are harder climbs, but you're more accustomed to doing like there's
Mm.
this one, it's actually right after this. It's after you have the party night with Marco.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
and then you go over and I don't think you have to climb this, but I did. There's just this pillar of rock that
I remember a
looks
pillar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there's like I think there's like a bridge at the top of it, like a rope bridge or something.
Oh, yes. Okay. I
Yeah.
know
And,
exactly
and
what you're
so
talking about.
and so I was like, yeah, well that seems like the most logical place to try to climb, but that pillar is really
Mm.
hard to climb. May have been harder
Yeah.
than that wind temple section, but the wind temple is so much harder than what came before that that
Mm.
it feels like a boss fight,
Yes,
in a game. So
it
that's the first
does.
real thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's the first time that I because that dense rock has been introduced a little bit before,
But
but in
easily
like
avoidable.
clumps.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can like kind of work your way around it or go through it if you like it, if you want a shortcut. But here it's just flat, like all the way across. Like you
Yeah.
have to go through it. And it's such a pretty, the rock is pretty. It's kind of like dark and glittery and it
Mhm.
looks really nice, but my God, it scares you when you're
Yeah.
like, because then you get pittons that are quite, if you do explore everywhere, you can get these special pittons that from the civilization, the troglodyte
Mhm.
civilization,
Yeah.
which can pierce it. But again, I was just so, I didn't want to waste my pittance. So I remember I just did it. Because again, zooming out, that was the one time where it didn't actually let you go above a certain level. Maybe because there
Mhm.
was a cutscene. I think there's a cutscene halfway through of her just struggling because girl, the struggle was real.
Yeah.
But it was like I cannot see the end. I cannot see the top.
Mm.
And that was scary. Oh, it was good. Tough, but good.
I think that was the cutscene. I might be mixing them up, but I think that's the cutscene where she snaps the radio thing off of the climb bot.
Yeah, it could
Eh,
well be. It could well be. I don't remember when she does it, but
but it's like it's kind of
oh,
we talked about earlier, like that synergy between like I'm so laser focused on the climb and Ava has to be too. And so someone starts calling and she's like, shut the fuck up. Let me
yeah.
focus on this climb. So like, yeah, I think that's the one where she snaps the antenna off. And it's
And you
like,
know
I
what? I
might,
relate.
yeah, exactly.
I
Like,
I would do the same.
don't fucking call me right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um,
Oh,
so that one
so
was
good.
tough. That pillar was really hard. That took me quite a long time to climb up to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a section after you meet the troglodyte woman, like the last one who's still on the mountain.
Yes, yes.
Climbing out of her section was really hard. There's nothing like remarkable
Mm,
about it to say why it was so hard. It was just real tough.
yes. I remember coming out of her cave and going up the side.
Yeah,
did you
same.
go in the cave and up? Oh,
Yep.
okay, yeah. Oh God. It's so interesting. Like we're talking about really specific elements of this mountain, and like I just remember all of it. You'd think that you would, there's so much of it that you'd forget certain moments, but everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, I remember. Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why, like, at the end of the game, when they give you that thing where you can see your route up the mountain, you follow
yeah.
that route
Oh,
and you're like, I remember all of this perfectly. Like,
yes.
I remember it will show you like you fell down here and it was like, I remember falling down there. Like,
Yeah, oh, that was a horrible fall. That was when I
yeah.
didn't put my foot here properly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 It's so like in the moment, it's super engaging to climb it, but the result also, it also results in a very memorable experience, which is
Yeah.
like, I feel like I'm making this comparison a lot, and it seems like I'm kind of shitting on these games. I like the Uncharted games a lot, and I like the climbing in Uncharted. It's
Yeah.
fun to me, and it's really epic. Like they sell the scale of those things really well. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember climbing a single thing in any of the 5 Uncharted games that I've played.
Yes, the only one I remember is when you go through the inside of a train cart.
Yeah,
Because that was the first, I think it's in Uncharted 2, that was the first thing you climb.
yep.
But I'm with you. After that, I can't remember. I don't
And
know.
yeah, that's fresh in my head because Baby Steps
Right?
also has a train car like that.
That's funny.
Which
Okay,
feels
that's
like an
funny.
Uncharted 2 reference. And then I
Yes.
remember climbing up like the inside of a clock tower in Uncharted 4, and that's about all I got as far as memorable
Yeah.
climbs. And it's memorable because like everything in Uncharted, the clock tower gets destroyed at some point, you know.
Yeah, it goes kaboom.
So anyway, the
Hmm.
result is like this seemingly anonymous like face of rock becomes a memorable
Mm.
thing that you overcame, and you remember this section of rock, and
Oh,
it's just an otherwise unremarkable, you know, rock
yeah.
face. That's it. There was a good video on, I want to say it was the No Clip 2 channel that they just
Mm.
started, where one of them, I forget which one, I'm sorry, one of the No Clip crew,
Mm.
did a video about Cairn, and specifically about
Oh.
how it feels like the mountain exists regardless of whether you're climbing it or not. Like it
Yes.
doesn't feel like a puzzle to be solved. It feels like a mountain that it's there regardless of whether you're there or not. Like, and
Yes. Yeah.
even though that is the case, it
Oh.
results in us being like this section above the wind temple. Everyone remembers this section when it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, compared to Jusant, I remember the sections where it's like they have these moving insects that you grab onto and then
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
ride them up the side of the mountain and stuff. But like that's designed for you. That's the solution to that part of that climb.
Mm-hmm.
And in Cairn, it's just like, nope, this really fucking hard rock face or that pillar,
Yes.
that weird pillar of rock, like everyone
The
remembers
annoying
climbing up
pillar.
that thing.
Yeah.
Did you find the bear?
No. I did not find the bear. This has pissed me off. I
Did
did not know
you've
there
heard
was.
about it?
I did not know there was a bear. I finished the game and I was like, I'm so happy with that. I'm just going to see what people are talking about. And the bear. Where was the bear? I did not see the bear. Did you find the bear?
I did.
Oh, what
It
happens?
was, so you find a cave, and
Yeah.
caves are always worth exploring because something of
Yes.
note always in there. So you go in there, and it looks like it's dark, and it looks like a good cave for a bear. You find a couple dead bodies in there.
Oh,
And so dead bodies are good finds because you have backpacks that you can rifle through,
yes.
and be little gamer gremlin mode.
Yes.
And you go in there, and Aava says, I don't like the looks of this. And so you get to the end of the cave. There's a dead body there. You check the backpack, you turn around, and there's a bear blocking the entrance to the cave. And so, two things about this. I ran out of the cave, and the bear swiped me as I ran, and it took out a big chunk of my health. And I had this moment where I was like, also, like, we didn't mention it, Aava can sprint, but it hurts her
Yes.
to sprint.
Yes.
So, like, you're
yeah.
very discouraged from sprinting.
I don't think I ever sprinted unless it was for a jump. But
Yeah.
even then I didn't.
So yeah,
Oh.
you run out of the cave, the bear swipes me. I get out of the cave wall, the bear's like following me out, and I'm like, where can I start climbing? And so I start climbing,
Oh my
and
god.
that becomes the escape from the bear, and it turns into the story. But there's another thing that my friend Scott told me about. Shout out to you, Scott. where Aava has a button where she can lay down and go to sleep in any place on flat
Yeah.
ground. And if you do that, the bear will also go to sleep in the cave next to you. And then you can get up and like tiptoe your way out while it's sleeping, which I think is super cute. Very
That's
funny.
smart thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, I think it's a brown bear. And the advice for
Yeah.
brown bears is there is no real advice. They're just going to fuck you up.
Right.
But, actually, I think the advice for brown bears is to lay down and get in the fetal position and just protect your vital organs. Let them fuck your back up because, you know, don't let them rip your intestines out. For black bears, you're supposed to yell. That's what, what they say. Yeah. So this is a brown bear.
So it's a don't fuck with me bear.
I guess that's Aava's like, well, she doesn't have bear spray, so just lay down and hope it doesn't rip your head off. And the bear ends up going to sleep. So that's a notable thing. I thought it was very... when I knew going into the back of that cave, nothing good's going to happen here, but turn around like, oh, fuck, it's right there too.
Yeah. So the only bad thing I had was the goat headbutted me.
Yeah, that happened to me too. Did it like,
that was rude.
Did it knock you off of anything?
No, thank God. I was like in the cave.
Yeah.
And thank God it didn't knock me off. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to go find this bear. Like
it's I want to say it's near the troglodyte woman section.
Right. Okay. Because it can't be that high
part
up
of the area. Yeah, not that high up. The goat headbutting you too is like, okay, rude. Like, all right, fine. I'll keep moving. Let's see. Did you find the cave with the dead child in it?
This is also something I did not find. This is when reading our notes, I was like, that's the one that I've not actually heard many people talk about unless I'm not looking in the right places. I know of the bear. I did not know of this. So I would love to talk about this as well. That's fucked. It's
really just like you go down into a cave, and I think there's a note about like someone who died on the mountain. I'm pretty sure it's a child. Like it looked like a pretty small skeleton or like a, you know, a young teen or something like that. You go in and you find a dead body in there, and it's like they had broken something, like they'd maybe fallen and broken a limb and couldn't get back out of the cave, which I don't want to spoil the other game, so I'm not going to mention it. You see in the doc, you know what I'm talking about.
I see. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, people have been like, "Why are you spoiling other games in your spoiler section?" I thought that was your whole thing, is not spoiling. I was like, all right, fine, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there is that. Ooh. I also think that's the first cave where you can lick a toad and get the psychedelic thing.
I licked a toad. I didn't like it, to be honest. Oh. I was very much like I wanted it to be, because if you eat mushrooms as well, you can get that effect as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's more colorful, and I don't know. I was a bit like, okay, can I climb now? I was like waiting. Oh, so it wasn't really for me.
Really interesting that like when you do any of the psychedelics in the game, the various psychedelics in the video game Cairn, it does highlight all the cracks in the rock with like very bright colors. Does. And so during a very late game section, I was like, it's pretty hard, and Aava was getting pretty hungry, and like those mushrooms like fill up a lot of the hunger meter. So I deliberately ate one for the hunger, for the food aspect of it, but also like it did make the climb pretty easy while you were
I've never
tripping.
Thought of that. So in one of the most in like the most deadly situations in the game, you were like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Because it's like, this actually might be a benefit. And it worked out pretty well.
I didn't even think of that.
Pretty nice there. The last the last kind of like lightning round memorable thing is just like that. So you get up that wind temple, the very hard climb. You get up to the top and you have this cutscene where you party with Marco. You drink all night long, and Aava gets sick, and you have to drink all of your water. And I hated that. I had so much water saved up.
Me too.
And it's like,
me too.
It's like the game is like, I appreciated it in like a game being like, you know what? Fuck you, buddy. Yeah. Like let's troll you a little bit, put you in some, give you some adversity. I
Mm-hmm.
at the time when it was like because it puts you in your inventory screen and it's like Ava's like, I'm so thirsty, I need water, and it's like, all right, I just drank your 2-gallon jug of water. What do you mean you have to drink all the other things? But yeah,
All
you have
of
to
it,
drain all of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and like, I liked that moment. I'm not a massive drinker, so I like Markham was okay. He was also someone that I was a bit hot cold on
Uh-huh.
initially. He then became someone very important when we'll talk about Ava a bit more in a bit later. But that
Yeah.
scene, I thought it was nice, but I was like, why are you drinking so much? We're on a mission here. Like, I feel like I was the sober driver. Like, I had to be like, I was the one who had the brain cell of like, aren't we supposed to be climbing this deadly mountain tomorrow? Why are you hungover, girl? Why are you drinking? So
Yeah.
I was annoyed at her for that. And then she drank all the water. And I was like, I have so much water, Arva.
Yeah.
I have so much. But it was fun. It was kind
Yeah.
of fun.
It's a fun scene. And I like that. I like that just they give you this panic. It's not real. You find more water pretty quickly.
That's true.
And then you're on your way. But for that moment, I was like, fuck, I'm out of water. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the one thing of all the resource things I need water the most. So that was a memorable part for sure. Did you have any other like memorable sections or discoveries? It sounds like you did the thing to find all the 3 parts of the totem. I saw that quest and I was like, there's no fucking way. I'm just going to keep going.
So I was like, oh, you have to do this. So
Okay.
I did it. It was, but for me, that section, I had just maybe a little bit before turned the accessibility settings off. So I was ready to go. And yeah, and like I said before, I was very up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Mhm.
And it was a struggle. But it was, for me, a really important section for me personally because it was the like watershed, like the moment where the game really clicked for me is because that section, it's not too high. If you fall down, it's not like game over situation. It's very forgiving. Like you have a tent, water supply of running water. So there's lots of available resources around. So you can kind of test the limits of like our visibility, but also you, like you're
Yeah.
like I was like kind of like experimenting and like, so yeah, I thought you had to find all 3. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought, oh, it's ancient ritual to continue on. Like I'll find all 3, which then gives you the power of clearing the weather, which was so useful for me.
Absolutely.
Moving forward. But yeah, so that bit was one of my most frustrating moments because I was just trying to work out. And that's when you learn about the different colored routes. So I was like looking up, like testing out different colors. And I learned a lot in that section. So for me, that was quite memorable.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll get onto a little bit later, but the backpack shrine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Was wild. Should we kind of go into should we leave that for a little bit?
Yeah.
And then
real quick, did you find any of the other upgrades? Because this game does reward exploration really well. So like you can find a bigger chalk bag. You can find
Yes, I found that.
I did
so
not
I got
find
6
it. I just heard
instead
about
of 3.
it. Yeah, I just
yeah,
heard about
so
that. Did you find
bigger
the
chalk
thermos?
bag? No.
Ooh.
Oh no, wait. Yes, I think I did. Yes,
Thermos
I found
was
the thermos.
clutch, for sure.
Yes,
Always have something
so
warm.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely had that. I found 2 of the pittons, the special pittons. I only found 2 of those, or maybe, and then the totem.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
I imagine there's probably like
Yeah.
there's maybe a water bottle upgrade, but I didn't find it.
Yes, I'm sure there is. That's a good one.
Yeah, I just found the thermos and one of the special pittons. So yeah, those were helpful though, especially the thermos was really, really good to have. let's talk about Aava, and let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
the climb. So Aava herself, we kind of mentioned it before. She's
Yes.
basically shutting out the outside world that's trying to like follow along with her climb, as her manager's trying to follow along for like manager and job reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Her partner is trying to follow along out of love and concern, and Aava is shutting all of them out. Um,
Yeah.
and there's this little story. There's one little like subline that you follow where Aava and her partner's cat is sick as they're
Yeah.
going up the mountain. She's getting some kind of updates on the cat's condition. And
Mm.
like you said, this climb takes place over like weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot that can happen at home during that time. And
Mm.
Ava's closing everyone out. There's also like when she meets Marco, the other
Mm-hmm.
climber. Marco wants to be friends. Marco maybe wants to climb together. Aava wants no part of that.
Which I don't know. I'm with her. I do not want to be climbing. Yeah, if Ava's like Black Cat energy, Marco is Golden Retriever, Labrador, Ray of
Uh-huh.
Sunshine. And as much as I don't know, I was immediately with Ava, like, I'm not climbing with you. Like, I'm
Mm.
gonna do my own thing, because suddenly my personal safety is now your business. Your personal safety is now my business. I don't want that. This is my personal thing. So I was with her on that.
There, I
Marco.
guess, yeah, I guess there's a way to see it from both sides where like climbing in numbers would be helpful in a lot of ways,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
Aava is a solo climber. She's out here. If she wanted to climb with other people, she would have brought a team with
Yeah.
her.
Hmm.
She's out here for this isolation. Like we talked about earlier with that comparison to Firewatch, it really feels like
Yes.
part of the reason she's out here is that something about her regular life makes her want to get away from it. And the mountain is a chance for her to get away from it. So she doesn't want to
Mm.
be with Marco. Probably also, like you said, she doesn't want to be responsible for somebody else.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of things along the way to the climb, all the way up to the ending, that really make it seem like Ava never intended to come down from the mountain in the first
Yeah.
place.
I
So,
was gonna yeah, I was kind of waiting for us to talk about this. It's
yeah.
interesting with it's very Lord of the Rings when Sam is like, for the we need the food for the journey home, and
Oh,
Frodo's
yeah.
like, "Mm." And I felt like I was Sam. I think I got halfway up the mountain. I don't know. I just thought, yeah, she's just gonna come climb down. And I was like, do I have to play the game to her to climb? Like, ooh, wonder what that's gonna look like. And then slowly realizing, like, no, there's no way that if she reaches the top. Well, one, I didn't know how crazy hard the last section of that game was. Like,
Yeah.
I that was really difficult. And there's an option. Marco's like, "Do you want to come down with me?"
Hmm.
And I said no straight away. I didn't even think twice. I
Yeah.
knew how heavy how heavy the decision was, but I wanted to see this through to the end. And that's an interesting decision because I'm doing it at her expense. And I think at that point I knew she probably wouldn't come back down. It's so, yeah. And the second half of that game and even the last climb, it's like, if she just dies now and not at the top, like, I don't know. There's like a cocktail, a soup of emotions in that last bit.
Hmm.
But yeah, that moment of being like, oh, she's not coming down.
Yeah. And
She's not coming down.
she never planned to. I got the feeling that's why
No.
she's not answering anybody. I think that she wanted this to be the end, and she doesn't want to keep contact with
Mm,
people the whole way. Um,
right.
Anything that could
Oh.
distract her from what she's planning to do here, or how she's planning for it to end, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
with the Marco thing, did you watch the cutscene where she goes down with
No.
Marco?
I read it. I
Okay.
read what happens.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like a real ending.
Yes.
When you do the real ending of the game, it's over. You can't start it again. You can start a new file. When you do
Hmm.
the Marco ending, the next time you boot up the game, it's like start back at Grandpa's shelter right
Yeah.
before you made that choice. So
Yeah.
And I honestly, I can't imagine anyone doing that, sending Aava down the mountain and being like, all right, that was Cairn. Cool game. And I'm
Mm.
done with it.
Yeah, I thought about it because, to be honest, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like you should live. That's how I felt like saying. Like I felt like Marco was very much like, you are a person, you should live. Like there is no reason. But again, like the reason why I chose for her to go up is I can just imagine, and I think that ending kind of like she will go up again.
Yeah.
This is going to be how she goes out. And no matter how she comes down and everyone's there to greet her and everything, I think a year later she will go up again. And whether she comes back down then, there will be a point. I read into it as she will go up and she will not come back. And why not now? If it's going to be happened later, why not now? I think that was my approach.
It's
Oh,
part of the psychology of it where I
hmm.
I think it's fairly safe to assume that Ava is on this Kami climb because she's done the other climbs that she wanted to do. And
Mm.
when you are kind of in the middle of it, there's always a bigger mountain to climb. There's always a tougher challenge. So, like, you do this, there's always something waiting for you after that. But after she's done with Kami, there is nothing left for her to get that
Mm.
challenge. And if she feel like she doesn't feel to me like she has a whole lot, like she feels like there's a whole lot of value outside of climbing for her, like in her normal life. So
Yeah. Mm.
if there's not another mountain to climb, it doesn't feel like she has much of a purpose. And that's why she feels like it's okay if I don't come down from this and never really plan to. Like
Oh.
I never did proper mountain climbing with like gear and pittons and shit, but I did climb.
Mm.
Well, I used to live in South Korea, which is a mountain that's like, or a country
Oh.
that's like mostly mountains.
Mm.
And I hiked the three or four tallest mountains in Korea, the tallest one being
Oh.
uh, 2,000 meters or so, like a
Okay.
challenging day
Oh.
out, but not like
Yes.
you don't need equipment to do it. It's just
Mm.
a long hike. And my wife and I hiked Mount Fuji when we were in Japan. And like,
Oh, yeah?
there is like a mindset of like, I did this one. What's the next bigger one? Okay, we did that one. What's the next bigger one? And then it
Right.
was like, I'm on a page looking at like, how do you go about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro? I heard that's doable. Like that.
Yeah.
I did that. I was on those pages looking at
Whoa.
those tours, and you know, expand that out years and years and years, and you could empathize or understand Ava, where she's like, well, I've climbed everything. What am I going to do? Climb
Mm.
Kami again after,
Yeah.
what else is there? If this is, you hear this a lot with athletes where after they
Mm.
retire, they lose their purpose because
Oh.
their purpose in life up until that point has been like this singular focus. You can't really do other things. You have to pour everything you have into your craft. That's how you make it to the top of your sport. And after it's over, a lot
Mm.
of people have talked about how they felt like they had to re-find a purpose in life after it was
Yes.
over. And that feels like
Oh.
Ava's looking into the future and like maybe seeing that. I don't know. I mean, there
Mm.
might be something more serious and immediate with Ava too, but if there's always another mountain to climb until there isn't, that feels
Right.
like a kind of a crisis for someone like her.
Yeah, because like you say with athletes, who, when you define yourself on this one encompassing thing,
Yeah,
who are you when that is over?
right.
It's interesting. When I was playing, I didn't think that she was going up without the intention of coming back down. I didn't think that. But it's almost like she didn't even think. It was like nothing else matters apart from reaching that point. So the descent wasn't even something, I don't even think in like a suicidal ideation kind of way, but just in like, I'm not thinking about it until I get like the top is where I need to be. I reckon if it wasn't so brutal, I think she might have come back down because that's just something you would have to do. I don't know. But it's interesting. I don't know if she went up there being like, I'm not coming down. But I definitely felt if I don't come down, that's fine. I think that's where I'm sitting, is that I don't know if the intention was there. I think she was just thinking about getting to the mountain, getting to the summit. There's not even a lot of like people are telling her, like everyone is like, no one's reached the summit before. She doesn't talk about it a lot. She's very much just doing it for her own satisfaction, for her own like voice inside her. Like there's nothing about her being like, I'm gonna be the first woman to do this. Like at the beginning of the game, like someone calls her on her phone and they are saying, you're trying to do this. That's incredible. And she's like, yeah, I guess so. Like that motivation of being the first person to do this, like it doesn't exist within her. It's just, yeah, it's really interesting. And yeah. Oh, did you take Climbot up to the summit?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, me too.
Because she seemed pretty broken up about the fact that she broke the Climbot, because right before that,
Oh,
the Climbot kind of like freezes up. Like you're really close to the top. It's really cold. The weather's terrible. Like the Climbot malfunctions and she like loses her fucking mind and like starts smashing it. And then you can see like sparks and smoke come out and you're like, ah, she broke it. And she feels really bad about it. So I didn't think that she would cut it loose. Part of my Mount Everest Wikipedia dives, um, people at high altitudes experience extreme tunnel vision, where whatever they have their goal, they can't think about any, like literally cannot think about anything else because your brain is operating at such a lessened
oh
capacity at high
God.
altitude, and low oxygen is the thing. So it would make sense for me that if Aava is like, Climbot and I are getting to the top, she's dragging that fucking thing up, even if
Yeah.
it's like making it harder for her, because rational decision making stops when you're at low oxygen,
Mm.
high altitude. That's part of the reason why like people die in weird ways on Mount Everest, because like their brains are
Yeah.
literally not working correctly
Don't
anymore.
they take their clothes off, some people?
Some
Or
people
they do all
do.
sorts of crazy things.
I think that's a hypothermia thing.
Oh, is it?
Taking like, because part of the
Whoa.
really fucking brutal, but I think part of the experience of freezing to death and having hypothermia is a feeling of being really hot.
Oh
So,
my God. Right.
but like
Damn.
again, if it's also coupled with low oxygen, poor decision making because your brain is at a lesser capacity. Aava, that tunnel
Mm.
vision to me was like, no, Ava's taking that fucking thing to the top. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I took it up.
Yeah, so I took it up for selfish reasons is in that this fucking robot, because throughout the climb she has like kicked it if it was like not working a certain way, and Climbot is
Mm-hmm.
fine and everything, and she's been a bit like, come on you hunk of junk, in a cute way. But it didn't feel right to not finish it with the robot. I don't know
Yeah.
what it was within me. I was like, I'm putting Arva's safety potentially in danger by bringing this thing with me, but also I believe that's what she would have done. And I just didn't want to see her at the top alone.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted something there with her. And yeah, I think Climbot at the very end, she's like clutching the bot. And it's just like, I'm so happy I brought the bot up with me.
Yep.
Oh,
Same.
that little guy. Love him. Love them so
Yeah.
much.
Um, yeah. In my opinion, you had to take it. I can see Aava cutting it loose as like she's just so focused,
Right.
so angry, etc. Cut it loose, get to the top. Like, I think there is a part of
Mm.
Aava where like once we get to a certain point in the climb, nothing matters except reaching the top.
That's
And this is where I
true.
kind of agree with you that like maybe she didn't start the climb with the idea of never coming down, but she definitely crosses that threshold at a certain point
Yeah.
in the climb where she's like, nothing matters except getting to the top. If I come
Okay.
down, cool. If I don't, cool. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting
Yeah.
to the top. It's interesting. There's that character you meet named Grandpa, right before the
Yes.
final frozen section up to the summit, where he's a famous climber who attempted the climb years ago and was never heard from again, and he's been living on the mountain. This is where you see the cave full of backpacks from all the dead climbers. He's been taking their backpacks and
Christ.
living off of their supplies. He also he sees people like hanging from their pittons in way where they can't climb back up. They're just hanging there until they die of exposure. So he shoots them to
Yeah.
put them out of their misery, and then shoots the
Oh.
bodies down. And you can help him do that. In this section, I think there's two really good things about this section. The first
Mm.
one is one final thing to be like, yeah, you made it this far, but like so many other people made it this far and no one has made it further. Everyone
Yeah.
dies here. So go home if you value your life. And Aava doesn't. Neither of us thought that she would.
Mm.
And then the other section is Grandpa says, Aava, someone asks him, why don't you just go down? And
Yeah.
he has this weird athlete psychology too, where he says, if I go down, that means I failed. And he can't handle that. So he's chosen to live in solitude on this mountain
Yeah.
in this fucking graveyard of dead bodies because he can't handle the idea of failing the climb. And he can't climb up now because he's too old. He can't do it. And he sees everyone else die and he's like, I don't want to die, but I also can't go back down because that means I failed. And it's like, again, it's like these athletes at the top of their game, they're insane. Like they don't think like normal people because you don't get that good by not being kind of insane. And so we have this character who's like, he and Aava think alike in
They do.
certain
They're
ways.
so similar. Yeah, Grandpa was a character that is pinnacle, vital to this point in the story.
Yeah.
At this point, you had seen the bodies, but you're like looting them and whatever. Like, yeah, people have died. That's just how it goes. I think where that really drove home for me was talking to Grandpa about that moment of like, yeah, when they get this far and sometimes they don't get further enough, sometimes I shoot the rope so that they fall down when the bodies. It just puts it in such a grim, blunt perspective. It doesn't feel gamified. A lot of times with bodies in video games, I feel like we are so used to it. I'm just like, dead body, okay, whatever.
Yeah, what do they have in their pockets?
Yes, and in Cairn, that's encouraged almost.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, we do feel sorry for them, but ultimately, where the oats? But this is a very realistic. It's a reality check. It's a absolute like, and to be honest, like as a playing the game, I was like, how long is this last bit going to take me in terms of like, am I going to be in limbo? Because if I keep dying and dying as Aava, and I never reach top, if this game is too difficult for me, I will be Grandpa. Because I'm not going back down, and I'm not going to finish the game. Yeah. So where does that leave me? I'm Grandpa. I'm literally going to be Grandma on the mountain. So I just thought, in terms of a video game, that was so interesting. And then, oh yeah, and the backpack graveyard is just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really unnerving. It's so unnerving.
It's interesting to walk in there and just find the remnants of everyone who thought they were the one who was going to do it. And Aava's the same way. She's like, well, RIP to these bozos, but I'm the best. And everyone else
attitude is wild.
Yeah, everyone else, I mean, she doesn't say that, but like she thinks I'm going to be the one to do it. But everyone else whose backpack is in that room, they thought they were going to be the one to do it. And literally 0% success rate for everybody else. Marco takes the opportunity. Like the reality check works on Marco. And there's other points earlier in the story where like Marco has doubts. Aava gives him like these canned lines of advice, and Marco's like,
let's talk about this. Yes.
Yeah. Marco's
what did you think of that scene? Sorry, explain first. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's okay. basically like Marco's doubting his ability to get up, and Aava does a couple of things. I think one time she kind of says like, well, it's not for everybody or something like that, but he kind of keeps going because he's doing okay. And then he has a real
Yeah.
moment of doubt where Aava like gives him, it sounds like stock advice that she would give to
Yeah.
anybody, like, it's just you in the mountain, really hammy shit. And Marco's like, all right, I guess I'll keep going. And then there's a certain scene
Mm.
where they're really high up, and Marco says something to the effect of, if I die here, it's not going to be the mountain's fault. It's going to be your fault for basically pushing me. Every time he says like, you know what, I think I should go back down, Ava's like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't go back down, and kind of pressuring him a little bit. And I thought Marco was
Oh
going to
my
die
God.
at a certain point on
Yeah,
the mountain. Um,
me too.
but it turns out that reality check late in the game, Marco's like, you know what?
Mm.
Fuck it. This is my chance to get off this ride, and I'm going down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what did you think of
Yeah.
this?
I was like, who does she think she is? Like, don't get me wrong, I do like her, and I still like the decision to make her this way when talking to Marco. I think it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was in that tent, I'd be like, Marco, babe, love you. Do not listen to her. If you don't feel comfortable, if you don't want to do it, and you go back down, the
Mm-hmm.
mountain will be here. You don't have to push yourself. But then her argument of being like, well, pushing yourself, like we talked about, yeah, there's certain successes in that. But what do you lose? For him,
Yeah.
like, like if you don't want to lose that, then go back down. Like if you have other things going for you, like a big thing that I think that he idolized her at the beginning, and then the choice that he gave her to come back down the mountain with him, I think was a like you go from idolizing someone to like almost being their voice of reason and being like, come back down with me. Is
Mm-hmm.
the backpack graveyard not enough? Is my grandpa's crazy talk about like finding bodies on the mountain not enough? Like, come back down. And
Mm-hmm.
the way that she kept pushing him, you know what, I don't think she thought he could do it. In my
Yeah.
heart of hearts, I don't think she thought that she didn't like talk down to him, but she definitely wasn't like, wow, like you're this amazing climber, let's, I don't know, I just felt like it was empty words coming at her. Like he literally says, he's like, "Oh yeah, I think I've seen you say that in a magazine." Like she's literally giving him the
Yeah.
shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so interesting, and I love it as a character study. But oh my god, I was like, "Girl, what are you doing?" Like
Yeah.
I don't know. The only time she's real with him is when they're pissed on the side of the mountain, like drinking
Mm-hmm.
together. And even then, yeah, it's shocking. I liked it though, but.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh damn! Did you tell Marco to shut up when he was
Uh,
rambling?
I did. Yes. Just,
Oh, oh, so good.
just, it felt very in character, and I let him go on for a little while, to see what
Me
would happen.
too.
And then eventually I was like, Ava would tell this guy to shut the fuck up. So
Yeah.
we're going to do that. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, that reality check works on Marco. It
Oh,
doesn't work on Ava.
on
And,
her.
maybe like an element of like Marco's continuing to go because he idolizes Ava. Like it's pretty easy to see,
Mm.
like he looks up to her and he doesn't want to disappoint her by quitting or something like that.
Yeah.
So he continues until he decides enough is enough.
Oh.
There's also that scene in Grandpa's cave where there's like a satellite radio that he has, and you can
Hmm.
you get a call from Naomi, Ava's partner, and you try. It's like the connection's not great, but like you do make contact. Naomi does know that Ava's alive in this section, and
Yeah.
asks, why do you do this? Like, why are you doing this? And Ava,
Oh.
as in like, why are you climbing this mountain that you're probably going to die on? That the mountain that everyone dies on. And it's same with that. I did read a little bit about that free solo documentary, the guy who
Oh
does the
yeah.
free solo climbing. And like there are a bunch of people like, hey, like, yeah, it's you climbing this thing, and if you die, it doesn't just affect you. You have a family and kids, and like there are other people who
Mm,
your death would greatly affect. So in a way, this is like, it's neat that you're free soloing these things, but it's also very selfish to do this. And Ava's faced with that same type of thing where there
mm,
are people who would be greatly affected by her dying on this optional thing that she's doing. And so it's like one final plea of like, why do you do this? And Ava can't answer it. Like in that
yeah.
scene, she thinks she can't think of a tangible reason to like say, and she gets mad. And I think she like knocks the thing off the table. I think she breaks it, but
Yes, she
like
does.
possibly breaks it, which is fucked up because like she's not the
What's
only
Grandpa
person
gonna?
using that. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but yeah, she's gotten all this way up. She's had all this time to think about it, and she can't easily explain why she's doing this, or she doesn't want to say it.
Yeah, that's interesting
Well,
because I
actually,
interpreted. Yeah.
sorry. After that scene, she like after the thing's broken, she does say like, I don't know. I don't know why I keep
Yes,
doing this. So yeah, maybe it
but
is
it's
that she
like
literally doesn't know.
because there's a moment where she's like trying to find her words. She starts to kind of explain. She fumbles a bit. She's reaching for something, and I just yeah, she just doesn't. Either she doesn't know, which is what she says, or she can't communicate it in a way in
Yeah,
which
yeah,
justifies her decision. And that's tough. I think that's why it brings me back to what I was saying earlier about like there's like you can't there's no words to describe why you there's just a pull, a need within you.
hmm
Like you know like how addiction kind of works like that. Obviously there's chemicals and all the stuff we're working with, but like ultimately it's just something deep within you that like and yeah, like I said, I just don't think anything she could say would justify her doing it,
yeah,
apart from the fact that ultimately she wants to. And I
and
think,
also yeah,
yeah. Sorry,
and
you go.
also
You
the
go.
fact that there is no one thing that she can say, but I also think that it's probably like you said, it's an indescribable pull
Mm,
to do it. Like she's doing it because she feels like she has to do it. And
yeah.
you can't just like say that, like no one's going to be satisfied by
Right.
that answer.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, it's a
It's
good moment.
a great scene, and it's really it's not very encouraging when you're then going to go do the final
Yes.
thing, and this really
Yes.
hammers home that like I don't think she's planning on coming back anymore. Like,
Mm,
or at the very least she doesn't care if she comes back or not. Nothing
yes.
matters
Yes.
except getting up there. So, the final
Yes.
climb, the final section, just want to just throw this out there. We've talked about sound design, but
Yeah.
um, this final section has hallucinations and
Mm,
other stuff. Again, low oxygen. Your brain is real weird on low oxygen, so that feels like that to me. But one of those things is it sounds like the mountain is groaning and grumbling and growling
yes.
and like
Oh,
vibrating as you're up there near the top. And it's very intimidating when you start being
yes.
like, oh my God, all right, this is it. And the mountain is fighting back, like
Yeah, it's
that
like a
kind of feeling.
beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely feels like something that it feels like a colossus. You know, like Shadow of the Colossus, it will just throw you off.
hmm
I honestly felt like that, like during the final climb. Like it was so smart, but it wasn't in a way that was like literal. Like it wasn't so literal, but like grumbling is definitely the way to describe it. Like a deep rumbling, like in the
hmm
mountain.
Yeah.
Like it did not want to be climbed, or it it yeah. And the weather and the snow and the it's just such a thematic and also mechanical like crescendo of emotions and everything just it's just really good. It's such a good ending. Difficult.
Yeah.
I
Tough.
knew going up that I was like, right, if there's a point where I can't finish this game, that's fine. I guess I can watch the end on YouTube. Like I was in that mindset
Mm.
because everyone up to this point, Grandpa has made it so clear that it's difficult, and not just like in story difficult. It's gonna be for you as a player difficult. Like that is
Mm-hmm.
communicated.
Yep.
And yeah, it sucked. There is a point though where it gets easier. I felt like at the very last bit, the game does give you a bit more of an
Right.
easier time.
Um, they do the really tough sections of that final
Yes.
climb up until the
Mm-hmm.
point where the climb bot breaks.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then after that point, you can't use pittons anymore, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But they do.
Yeah.
The final section after that is not very long, and it's like it's perfect handholds everywhere. So it's like if you've made it
Yeah.
this far, you shouldn't need pittons anymore. So
Yeah.
you get up, you go up that thing. Also, the camera starts to like pan out a little bit as you're going
Yes.
up those final sections. You can almost just hold the stick and press X to like
Mm-hmm.
foot, hand, foot, stuff like that as you go up. And yeah, so you get up to the top, up to the summit. Aava pulls herself up and then either pulls up the climb bot or doesn't if you cut it
Mm-hmm.
loose. And you do this very slow walk. There's a bunch of these slow walk sections toward the end
Yeah.
where it's like Ava's, she's not doing well physically. And so you do this really slow walk, and the camera pulls out like really far to kind of emphasize the scale of everything. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the ending, which is really it's special. I think the ending of this game is special.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
So what happens is first Ava gets to the top of the mountain and she does these like primal screams, like
Oh,
triumphant but
yeah.
painful, primal, like
Mm-hmm.
fuck you, I made it to the top type of screams.
Mm-hmm.
And then she falls to her knees, and the sky fills with stars. And then you have this section where the climbing mechanics have you climbing up the stars into the night sky, and the music picks up, and eventually it turns into her leaping
Oh.
from star to star and then bouncing, shooting off into space from star to star.
Mm.
And before it starts, there's a button prompt that says like click A to what does it say? Be part of a whole, a
Yes.
WHOLE whole. Um,
Mm.
which at the very beginning of the game, I went and rewatched the beginning. The opening
Mm.
cutscene of the game, Ava says, all I ever wanted was to touch eternity for an instant, to reach one of those rare moments of bliss where everything seems in its place and you feel you're part of a whole. And then
Oh,
that gets brought back at the very end here, where
yeah.
she shoots off into space and the music picks up. It's like really upbeat music. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
genuinely like really emotional, special ending for the game. Very unexpected, but
Yes.
yeah.
Mm.
What did you think?
I I thought the ending was great. I really liked the abstract nature of it. I also really like mountains in other video games I've played, be it Celeste or A Short Hike or any mountain in The Witcher. I reach the top, the first thing I do is look down. I look
Mm,
down at how far I've come. I look down at like the view. When you reach the top in Ken, there's like the view is pretty. Like I'm talking about looking down. There's like cloud cover, so it's not. So you're encouraged to look up. You're encouraged to keep looking up into the sky and to see all the stars. And it's really that is such an interesting choice thematically, right? Because she's still, you know, she's never gonna look down.
yeah.
It was never an option. It's always gonna be up. And then her climbing into the blanket of stars is just so appropriate. And then yeah, it was very artful way of essentially saying that she is now one with the universe
Yeah.
and in her own words part of a bigger whole, which yeah, I just really liked it. I thought it was the right tone was hit in
Yeah.
terms of abstractness and also the reality of the situation of her dying
Yeah.
on the summit.
That, yeah. She's literally a part of the mountain, just like those climbers
Yeah.
on Mount Everest that I mentioned.
Yes.
She'll be
Oh.
up there if anyone makes it up there again. And I really like the representation of this. It's interesting you mentioned the thematic nature of mountains in a lot of games. You mentioning
Mm.
Celeste made me think of that game. Fuck, what's the other one recently where you're climbing? Oh, baby
Uh.
steps. You climb up,
Oh, yeah.
you climb a mountain in baby steps. Climbing a mountain as a metaphor for some kind of personal growth.
Mm.
Whereas in Cairn, what did Ava learn from this?
Yes, that's
Like
actually
there,
really true.
it's a good subversion of like the mountain as a metaphor type of thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she surmounted the challenge, but she died up there. Like, what was it worth? Like, she didn't, there was no lesson learned like in some of those other games.
Yeah.
There was no
Mm.
acceptance to reach or overcoming fears or anything
Yes.
like that. She accomplished her goal of being a part of being one with the universe and touching the divine for a second, but and like that ending was gorgeous from her perspective. This is her
Mm.
becoming one with the universe, but zoom out a little bit. It's a nice subversion, I think, of that metaphor.
Yeah. It's very much exactly as you said, like, and for the player as well, it's like I've endured, I have I feel like I've pushed through the difficulty aspects of the game and I'm here with you. We've reached the end together. And then yeah, there's something it takes there's a sting. There's like a sting in the end of her just like she's always going to be there now and like you're the one who put her there. I felt very much there's a moment as well when she's having these hallucinations on the mountain and she's sleeping in her tent and she's saying, "Oh, I just want to sleep here forever." And you input like wake up. And
Hmm.
she says, "Oh, okay, I'll keep going." Like,
Mm,
point taken. And I'm like, who are you talking to? You're
mm,
talking to me? Like I honestly feel like she there's a moment of a bit of fourth wall breakiness when she when she reaches the top and that happens to her. I'm like, I'm the one who did this to you. I decided not to take you down with Marco. I decided to keep pushing.
mm.
She's sobbing on the way up to the mountain at certain points. I felt so
Yeah,
bad.
she is. Yeah.
Oh, so it was really, oh, what an
It's
ending,
it's almost
man.
as if that's a good point, and it's almost as if like you as the player of Cairn control the inner drive inside of
Yes.
Ava that she
Yes.
can't turn off. And so just
Yes.
like
Oh,
you're never going to let her you the player have to finish the game. That's your drive. If
yes.
if you're built like me, you're going to beat the game. You're going to finish it.
Yeah.
And that drive inside of Ava is never going to turn off. And you can imagine her in that moment. Ava has a rational side. Her rational side is saying like, I'm tired. My body probably hurts. Like I'm freezing. It's fucking cold up here.
Mm,
Everything's terrible. I want to sleep here. Um, or like
yes.
in that section where she thinks about going down, but that inner drive will not let her stop. And it's a self-destructive impulse, I guess.
That is such a good way of describing it. The drive.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cause
perfect.
I there's a lot of video games that play with like this, the role of you as the person inputting the stuff in here.
Mm,
And I don't really buy there's criticisms of those same games that say, well, it's not really effective because my only choice is to turn the game off, right?
yes.
And so therefore the thing in the game is not effective. And I don't buy that criticism in a lot of cases because
Mm,
my role in the game is I'm not Dave. I'm I'm an active player in this story. I'm a character
yeah.
in some way. And in Karen it makes a lot of sense for me because I'm the one pushing Ava up the mountain. I'm that part of her that won't turn off, the part that says you can't stop.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. And it only makes sense at the end where we have this hallucination, this kind of
yeah.
I think it could only be there. Like before, it'd be a bit too on the nose or a bit too, it wouldn't land right.
Mm,
But right at the very end, you and her have been through so much. She's in a bit of delirium. Like it just, that one line hits.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah. I was
You could,
shocked. I was like,
yeah.
oh, don't perceive me.
Never
Oh,
perceived me on the other side of the controller, but um,
yeah.
yeah, it
Oh,
kind of felt like Aava has a rational thought for once, and then that part of her inside is like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're not going down. You
don't
can't stop
describe it
here.
like that,
Yeah.
David. Oh my God. That's so good. Yeah, that's so true. The one time she actually, you've stunned me. Because
Well,
it is the
yeah.
one time she says it, is like, maybe I should. And you're the
Yeah.
input that's like, no.
Right. It's that
Oh,
it's that competitive spirit that
yeah.
got her to this point. Again, none of these high-level athletes reach the top without that ridiculous inner drive,
Mm,
or some combination of like freak athletic ability. Like,
yeah.
but even that, you have to be kind of a maniac to reach that point in the first place. So that thing that got you there in the first place is then not going to let you stop. And then we see what
Mm,
happens. And I think that part, that final, like, yeah, Ava, you're doing this type of thing, makes that ending more powerful. And I can't emphasize enough how powerful that ending is when you're climbing up in the
hmm.
stars and the music kicks in,
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, part of you is like, what the fuck is happening? But then part of you is like, man, this is so uplifting and awesome. Like the music is really,
Yeah, the
it's like
music's
a
so good.
positive song it's upbeat. It's kind
Mm,
of a party. And then reality sinks in and you're like, oh yeah, she died
yeah.
up there. Like she got what she wanted, but she died up there. It's really, really beautiful. And I
Hmm.
think that games that have this level of input in your like interaction with the game do a great job of storytelling through that alone. But
Hmm.
Cairn, and honestly, I mentioned it before, just saying it here, I think Baby Steps is really good at this too. Cairn
Right.
Cairn has a layer of storytelling beyond that, like the story is told through my inputs type of thing, that I think is
Mm,
really, really, really strong. And like the artistic choice to do the ending this way
yeah.
is excellent. And a lot of these things, like what's cool about doing the podcast this way is like going back
Mm,
and talking about those conversations in the middle of the game, knowing where all of this goes,
yeah.
recontextualizes those things. And you're like, is Ava pushing this on someone else because she can't turn it off herself? Like those types of
Oh,
things. This game's really
yeah.
good. Love this game.
This game is so good. Like, oh, and just like talking about it as well, and just like really all the things that I like was maybe interpreting. It's really good to get them out and to talk about them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I don't know if another game will top what I went through with Ken this year. I think this might be it for me. Oh, so good.
It's certainly a contender for sure. The game
Yes.
bakers should be really proud of this experience that
Mm-hmm.
they've crafted. And like, I haven't read a whole lot of. There have been people who have like just bounced the fuck off of Cairn, but I
Yeah.
haven't
Mm.
really seen a lot of people out there who are like, I played the whole thing and I don't feel one way or the other about it. Like
Mm.
it seems to make a real impression on a lot of people, and
Yeah.
I think it's well deserved. So we could just spend like another half hour just being like, man, this is another way this game is really good. And
Yes, we
remember how
could.
we pointed out like the time when we were talking about jank and difficulty, and we're like, it feels like we're being really negative here.
Yeah.
We've we got that out, and then it's like, let's talk about these parts that made this real lasting
Mm.
impression. So um
Yes.
yeah, Rachel, thank you for going through the climb with me. This has been a great time.
Yes. I've had such a good time. Thank you for the invite. Oh, I just love talking about Ken so much.
Yeah. I'm glad that it didn't, we didn't come to the recording day and be like, yeah, we agreed to talk about it. I don't have a whole lot to say,
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
I'm glad that it provided a lot of meat on the bone.
Yes.
So, yeah, thank you again. I'll definitely have you back on the show sometime if you're up for it.
Absolutely. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, and a reminder for everyone at the end of the show that maybe as the music is playing us out, go find some episodes of the Indieventure podcast.
Oh,
Or if you're
thank you.
into puzzle games, go check out Thinky Games. There's a lot going on the site. I'm a reader of the site. So there's a lot going on.
Yay.
A lot to keep you entertained, especially if you like puzzle games. So check out that stuff. And if you're still here at the end, as always, you are my hero. Tune in next week for the next game to come out of the backlog.
Do you feel like you're the only person in your circle who wants to go deep about video games regularly?
We were like that too, until now.
Welcome to Crossplay Conversations, the brand new bi-weekly topical video game podcast from Luke Lewis,
Joseph Hooper,
And Jacob McCoy.
with many years of breaking it down separately on shows like the Left Behind Game Club, Player Podcast, and Lukewarm Games, the gang is finally coming together to publish their gaming group chat in audio form every other week.
Expect roundtable reviews of the latest games, profiles of upcoming indies, and insightful conversations about essential topics in the video game industry. All with a mostly positive, insightful, and fun style.
Help us out by subscribing on your podcast platform of choice to get the first episodes delivered straight to your feed.
And follow us on Twitter at Crossplay Convos for updates about the show.
Cheers and happy
gaming.
Do you have a gaming subscription service like Xbox Game Pass or a crazy backlog and don't know what to play next? Well, 1H1D might be for you. Join me, Chris, and my college buddy Tom as we play a random game or a requested game for an hour and decide if it's worth playing past that hour. We go over the good, the bad, and maybe some little tidbits about the development you might not have known. Got 30 minutes? Give us a try, and if you like it, throw us a 5-star review. Try something new. You never know what might be your next favorite game.